Welcome, Underhive scumbags, to episode 21 of Chronicles from the Underhive, a Necromunda and Post Apocalyptic podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Carl.
And like we discussed in the last episode, we have got a new member. You can hear him now. It's Carl.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, he'll be joining us today. One of the main things is his passion for the Enforcers, so it's perfect timing coming up for the group. Just talking a bit about himself and how he got into Necromunda before we get into all the Enforcer stuff. So, shall I leave it to you first, Carl?
Yeah, okay, so for those who don't know, I've been on the show before, but if you didn't hear it, I've done tabletop wargaming now for about 20 years. First game I ever played was actually Blood Bowl, which was it'll always live in my heart as one of my favourite games.
I'm still trying not to fight that, but I know you like Guild Ball.
Well, fully enough, that's part of a little bit of spiel I prepared. So not long after I fell in love with Blood Bowl, I fell in love with Necromunda, and I've played it pretty much on and off ever since, for about 20 years now. I know it's controversial for an old school player, but I do prefer Necromunda 17 to the original, and it's purely down to the alternative activations. I fell in love with that system when I was introduced to Guild Ball, which is the game that's replaced Guild Ball for me, replaced Blood Bowl for me. Blood Bowl, amazing miniatures, and I know that you're really fighting the edge to start playing it at the moment.
Oh, those miniatures look amazing. That's what's doing it.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, I don't want to stop here. I don't even want to say don't do it, because in actual fact it's such an amazing game. But what I found though is I feel like it's you kick to me, I knock all your models down, your turn you're standing back up, I knock them all back down, and vice versa until I score. Then it happens the opposite way around. Whereas with Guild Ball, it's football. You've got 6 players, you've got a captain, a mascot and 4 players, and it is basically football, but I activate someone, you activate someone, I activate someone. But like it is in Necromunda, you choosing when to activate that person and how much influence you spend on that person, it becomes really tactical. I could give you the best team in the game, and I could have the worst team in the game in terms of my captain choice and player choices to support that captain. And if you make the wrong decisions, you're going to lose. It doesn't matter how good your team is. Whereas Blood Bowl, you stick a big powerhouse team like Chaos in front of Halflings, and you know, if you lose, then you've done something really, really wrong. Doesn't matter how much the dice love or hate you, you would struggle not to win. But then at the same time, it's Blood Bowl, and it's such good fun. Absolutely love it.
And I think what made it worse was that on Kickstarter, someone third party saw us models just look immense, and there's so many like Kickstarters for that sort of for third party models.
They've just been going for so long, haven't they? It's been supported by a community, and I must admit, I went to Element Games when I first started playing X-Wing for quite a large X-Wing tournament, and there was a European qualifier there, of Blood Bowl, and there was people from all over Europe there, and I think it must have been a good 30 odd players, and I thought that was massive. But when you put your comment on the group the other day and someone said it'd been at an event with 150 players, I couldn't believe how big the game still is.
Yeah, and there's so many podcasts dedicated to it and stuff, whereas there's not many for Necromunda that I can think of.
No.
It has a really big following.
Yeah, I mean, Necromunda for me and Blood Bowl, what I like about both of them is after the game there's still more to it. I mean, there's more to obviously there's a lot more to Necromunda, but I like that injuries carry over, and I like that you have sort of, you know, leveling up and getting better, and you do start to sort of, you know, follow certain players and think, oh, I love that player's my favourite. Blood Bowl was easy for me to avoid though, because I've got it on my PS4 and it plays exactly the same on the console as it does on the board. So
I've got it on PC.
So you can just pick it up any time and play it, and it doesn't really matter. It is nice to have the models, don't get me wrong. Sod's Law, would you believe? I bought everything when it first came out, when it relaunched. I couldn't believe it. I was in my element. Even though I'm a Guild Ball fan, I thought, no, I'm having it. Absolutely love it. And then basically I couldn't get anyone to play. There was no one going. So I sold it all to a lad who was looking at starting it. And then would you believe, about a month after, there was a 29 player strong league running in the area, which there's probably only about 10 of them that actually play on a regular basis, but there's 29 of them that all have teams and all want to play, and you really think, this, you know, I want to kill someone now. I mean, you know.
No, you don't want to do that, but I know what you mean.
No, of course not. But yeah, so that's me really. So it's good to be back. Really, really glad to be back. Obviously, I love the show, as you know. I love the game. Really struggling for games at the minute, but I'll go into that a bit later on. Plus, I wouldn't be part of you guys if I didn't say I was struggling for games, would I?
Yeah, exactly. But even saying that, I even had a game a couple of days ago. I'll be talking about that in the games played.
I was impressed. I think I've had about 15 or 16 in the last maybe 3 months. So I want to say I'll have loads to talk about, but they was all not long after we spoke last time, and then I've struggled since because of my course at work. But yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll speak about my game and my ability to actually get out and play a game. So I'll be discussing that in the games played bit. But before we get into that, we'll talk about the Instagram. So Necromunda Tom, if you want to join on, if you're on Instagram. There's the Patreon, which the link's always in the show notes bit of the podcast whenever I put the new episode out. And we do have a Redbubble account, but even I think I'm literally the only person who's ever bought anything on that. So it's just there if anyone ever did want to buy anything Necromunda, Chronicles from the Underhive related, like a pillowcase, bit extreme. I think I've got to say really quick on that. Every time you say that, I keep thinking I might buy a pillowcase. But I can't work out how you do it. When you go on, there's only about 8 items I can select. I was a bit more. I mean, I could go on there and go nuts. Like the options are ridiculous. I've got the T-shirt, and I've selected things like T-shirts, hoodies, and bits and pieces. But there are options for it to go insane. But you can basically pick which things you're willing to put as an option. But I might actually just go nuts and just put everything out.
I would happily have some Chronicles and have bedding, because I've only got Star Wars bedding at the minute and get laughed at. So,
awesome.
Moved back into my parents last year. Sadly, I'm a 35-year-old man. It's embarrassing. But I've got Star Wars bedding and everything. So what's wrong with some Necromunda bedding? Why not?
Definitely, I'm gonna have to put that up now. Okay, well I'll do that once it's maybe tomorrow morning.
Yeah. In relation to the Patreon as well, for people that are thinking about doing it and done it, it's well worth doing, because obviously it keeps the podcast going, and I'm a supporter. I absolutely love it, and hopefully if more people go on, give you the option to do more things with the podcast as well. Like I know you discussed when you very first mentioned it, things like a YouTube channel and stuff like that, where you can show extra bits and bobs. So anyone on the fence that isn't sure about it, my advice is go for it if you can, but obviously it's your choice.
I mean, it's really helpful at the moment because, like I say, it's always covering the release of this episode. So
yeah,
that's always helpful. And then the little bits each month when a new book comes out, or if I need to get cards of any sort or whatever, I can just get that without so much thought about where that money's coming from, because I've got my family, I've got my kids, I've got mortgage and everything else. I go from Bedford, but I have to travel to work to London every day. Travel's nuts, so it is helpful that I'm not expecting my family to front the costs of my podcast stuff.
Hopefully it's one of those things that if the Patreon grows and grows and grows, and I mean there is such a massive community out there, but you could potentially become one of those people that GW decide to send you the products anyway, so that you can review them in advance. And obviously, we're here to support and help the game grow. So hopefully, that sort of level of interest from people just shows that actually this is a platform that people are interested in, and you can then go to GW, show them that, and actually it might help the podcast even further. But I'm a dreamer.
Yeah, it would be awesome if they did, but so far it's not a thing. No. I mean, it's 109 subscribers on YouTube at the moment, which is not bad, seeing as literally all we do is put up the recording, or Tony puts up the recording of the podcast. So
yeah.
But yeah, thank you for support anyway. I wouldn't expect anyone to pay anything, only if they're ever wanting to. So don't ever feel obliged to. It's not a problem at all. But thank you for everyone who has. And like I say, if you do support the podcast, I'll thank you on the next episode of the podcast. So we are at the waffly stage, so this is at the point where I can stop for a second and then we can discuss what we've been up to. So I'll have a break. Okay guys, we're at the what we've been up to stage. Carl's going to go first because a lot of that first bit was me talking. So Carl, what have you been up to?
I just think you want to hear your own voice, really, don't lie.
Well, that's fine. I can listen back to my recording as much as I want.
Yeah, no, obviously from the last show that I told people about the campaign that I was looking at running, and I obviously posted the campaign rules that we was going through for our campaign. It's been really successful so far. We're about 4 cycles in now, 4 cycles in. I've had to take a big backward step because, as I mentioned last time, I was expecting to go on quite an intensive course of work in middle of September. So when the campaign first launched, I was literally trying to get 2 games in against everybody in every cycle just to really get those games up. Like I said, I probably played 13, 14, 15 games quite easily. But then work spun the course on me quite quickly, so I catapulted massively up the leaderboard, and then I've not played since, and I'm just watching myself slowly drop down. But just to sort of feedback hopefully people know what I'm talking about when I talk about the rules that we put in. But I put a few house rules in there to make a campaign run smoothly. Me and you talked about this obviously before we started recording. But we talked about like the experience, because one of the things I'm missing from old Necromunda to new Necromunda is that everyone seems to level up really, really slowly. There's no real experience gain, so I put something in there where you gained experience for every time you needed to roll injury dice, basically. So every time you scored a wound, you earn an experience point. I can honestly say now that was silly broken. Don't do it. Anyone thinking about doing it or looking at that, of all the rules I put in, that's the only one that I would take out now, because what it meant for us is that in my campaign, somebody is about 2,000 rated higher than everyone because he's getting loads of games in, and that's nothing against him. He's just playing loads of games. Whereas, let's have a little look. So Cameron, his rating's 4,840. Next highest is 2,600. Then you've got me at 2,300, and then you've got people that have only got 1 or 2 games in at 1,200. It started off really, really good, but it only works if everybody's playing loads of games. The underdog system that I put in works really, really well. Obviously by giving people extra experience if your rating has shot that little bit higher up than everybody else's, but putting that extra experience in just gave people an excuse to fly away. And again, I've mentioned this already, I don't know if you've read the underdog card yet, or for anybody that hasn't read the underdog card yet. Underdog card's really, really good. It's a good way of balancing out, another way of balancing out if people are running a little bit ahead of you as well. So for those that don't know, the way they work is when you get given extra tactics cards, you can not take 2 to take an underdog card instead. So for example, if you get 4 bonus tactics cards, you can just take 2 underdog cards instead if you want. Very much like the house favour system, people get either extra reputation, extra income, or extra experience for completing a certain task in the game. Most of them are just assign it to a ganger, and if at the end of the game they've not been taken out of action, they get an extra D3 experience or an extra 2 experience, or they get 2d6 times 10 credits because they're carrying a certain bit of information. So it's not massive, it's not difficult, it's not hard to do, but it just gives you that extra bonus for being underdog. So that's really, really good option there for people. But in terms of me myself, as I say, I've been running my Orlok gang, which I've put a few photos on the group. So I've probably got, I'm going to say 15 just to make it easy. I got quite a lot of games in, was absolutely romping it in the campaign. Got myself a las cannon real early on, and now know why GW hasn't put a las cannon on anybody's sprues, because they are stupid good.
You just got to have a good shooter with it, haven't you? Not roll a 1.
Yeah, well that's it. It's very, very easy. The leveling up system now, because you choose what you want to give people, it is quite easy to actually tailor people to what you want them to be, and that's great. However, my ganger, my champion, again, like I said, I put this thing in with the experience, and it helps people get experience a bit too quickly. I had a champion, he got a ballistic skill increase almost straight away, but he now has a las cannon with suspensors, so he can move and shoot it. He's got an infrasight, so they're never in, they're only ever in -1 cover, worst case scenario, and at long range over 24 inches is +1 to hit. So if I stick him in the back corner of a board at the highest point I can find, don't get me wrong, I've got tons of terrain, so it's not always easy, but he's always getting +2, so even if they are in hard cover, as long as I can see a little bit of them, I'm just hitting normal, and when he's hitting on a 2+ anyway, it's just got a bit silly, and when it does 3 damage, pretty much anyone you hit, they're going out of action, so it's a bit awkward. Yeah, I mean it's brilliant, don't get me wrong. I've got another champion, I've got 3 champions. I took one with a heavy bolter, bolt guns, amazing until they run out of ammo. Once they run out of ammo, they're a pain in the backside. But all I did with that champion is I gave him munitioneer, so when he tries to reload, if he fails, he gets a reroll. So it's a 6+, okay, I failed it, get to reroll it, okay, I failed it. But because you can reload twice in a turn as well, the next turn, you can have 2 goes at it. So in theory, you're rolling 6 dice. Eventually, you're going to reload it. So that keeps him in the fight for longer. Plus, I try and stick him near a loot crate if there's any about. Been fortunate not to have any bombs blow up in my face as yet. And then I've built myself the best champion ever with a load of credits that I made. I've got a champion with a power pick, bolt pistol, auto pistol. He's got a full servo harness, an armoured undersuit, mesh armour, and true grit, so that he just ignores everything. He was purposely built for every start of every cycle. We tried to organise a fighting pit. There's a multiplayer scenario with a fighting pit. First one we did, I got absolutely mullered. I think I was taken out in about 10-3, whereas everyone else lasted about 6 or 7 turns. But for me, I went out in about 10-3. So I built this champion specifically for that. And everyone that's been done since, I've been unavailable to play. So I'm absolutely good. I've got this specific pit fighting champion, and he hasn't been in a single pit fight yet. And the only close combat he's ever been in outside of a pit, he lost, would you believe, against a Van Saar leader, which is even more embarrassing because Van Saar can't fight to save their life.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I've had some really, really good games, to be fair. What I'm finding is in Hull in particular, from when I talked last time and I said that we're going to run a couple of games, I got a couple of extra people interested. But the more it was turning up, and it's a pain in the backside because the boot space in my car is not very big, but I take all my terrain everywhere I go, and I know that, I think when Tony was mentioning in the last episode, it's mostly 2D games he gets to play. When you set up them 3D games and you get all that terrain out, it's such a big boost because people come in and go, wow, what's this? And when you say to people, all you need is a because the dice, you can do everyone's got dice already anyway, all you need is a box of 10 models, because the likelihood is most starter gangs are 8-9 models, and you only add 1 or 2 models in a campaign because people die, so most people will get away with buying a single box for £25 and be quite heavily invested, so to speak, in the game. So it's been really, really good for us for pulling in new players. We had about 6 or 7 players. It was all fringe players or people that was interested in wanting to play but not really bothered. And with the Enforcers coming out, I've got about 5 or 6 people saying, can I join your campaign and play Enforcers? So I think we're going to can this campaign and just start a fresh one. Just to get more players in, because I need to scrap that rule as well, because it was too good. So I think that's going to go. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ban hazardous footing, because hazardous footing's cost us a player in the campaign as well. He just thought it was a bit crap. He had 2 games and a lot of bad luck, characters going out of action. And he played his next game, it was going really, really well for him. He was running across a gantry, and he was about to turn the tide against a player that was a bit more experienced than him. And then the player went, yeah, I'm just going to play hazardous footing, so your guy falls, and 2 people went out straight out of action, and his leader, when he rolled, was dead. So he just said, alright, I'm just going to retire my gang, I don't want to play in the campaign. It's a bit silly, really. And I was like, do you know what? I said, I'd rather have house ruled it so you just fell a floor. Yeah. Which is something we discussed last time. But I basically let him take the injury back, and we said we'll put him into recovery to keep this player in the campaign. But I don't think he's played the game since then anyway. I think it had a bit of a negative play experience for him.
Yeah.
But I think that's sort of what I found with a few people. We've got a couple of hardcore players and we've got a couple of fringe players. So I find when I play the fringe players, I try things like my las cannon. I try and stick it at the back or have him running forward and use his auto gun because that's his backup weapon. Just because I don't want to be that guy that kills off players. When I'm playing against the competitive people, I love doing it.
Yeah.
I just want to blow their guys away or whatever. But in terms of playing, yeah, I've been absolutely loving it. I got so many games in. Sadly, my last one was about 4 weeks ago, so I couldn't even give you any really juicy details. I mean, I must admit I do like that about Yak Tribe. Because on Yak Tribe, if I go to the campaign, I do a little bit of a write up for most games. I was using remember the name of the app, My Mini Report. So I put
that's right. It's that like the comic book sort of thing.
Yeah, and they was really good to put games on, but it all depends. When we play now, I got a write up from 2 people, and they literally said, "This is the scenario, this is the number of kills, this is how much rep I got, this is how much rep they got," and a one liner, and that's their write up. Whereas I do them, and then I have to scroll up 2 or 3 times to get through the full thing. I try and write as much as possible. I've had some really sort of exciting moments in games. I think to sort of cap off my playing, because otherwise I'll waffle all night. My favourite thing is I was playing against Animal House, which is a Goliath player. We got border dispute where, after reading it properly, I thought you had to put a player within an inch of the centre of the board. I didn't within the inch of the deployment line on the centre of the board. Didn't realise it was within an inch of the actual centre of the board. And I got a Juve that I got randomly generated a Juve, and there was a Goliath ganger directly in front of him. So by the time we deployed, he had 2 gangers because I thought I put no one near that. I don't want him to die. Long story short, my Juve beats up 1 ganger, 1 Goliath ganger. The second one comes in, and I held him off for 2 turns before 2 more Orlocks came in. And all it took from about 4 or 5 rounds of combat from return hits, he took a flesh wound.
Yeah.
So he was absolutely hard as nails. Next campaign next game got shot and killed, but that's not the point.
No.
The point is, against Animal House, he was absolutely hard as nails. The game ended up a draw because I lost my in turn 1. I lost my because he played a card that allowed him to one of his guys to infiltrate, so he got to defile my relic as his very first action. But because he fled and ran, it meant that I then defiled his. So because it was both defiled, it counted as a draw. But it was a really good fun game. I like games that I used to just play standard, like straight up fight, and whilst they are good, it's nice to play some of these more characterful games. I'm desperate to get some Book of Peril style games in. I want to try and put a bit more flavour into the games, and I think my course finishes 2 months today. My course finishes, and so the day before my birthday, I'm going to kick off our next campaign, and I'm going to try and write a campaign event in, so that everyone's in each sort of campaign week. I'm going to dictate what scenario and what sort of conditions are there for everyone's game. So it might be that, you know what, you're going to play a Sump Sea. They might generate whatever mission they want on it, but they'll play it in a Sump Sea, for example. Just to try and make it a bit more fun, just to write a bit of story with it. I'm gonna have an Arbiter gang that's going to be quite strong, and they're going to be there for a bit of a culling. So my friend Cameron, when he starts to run away with it because he plays more games than anybody else, I'll send the Arbite gang in, not the Arbites gang, but the Arbitrators gang in, which will be like a Venator gang or something like that, to knock him down a peg or 2, give him some serious injuries, just to give people a chance to catch up to him.
Fair enough.
But other than that, what have you been doing?
Mine's all really been painting, apart from one game which I'll discuss later. So I've been painting. I've done 2 of my Hungry Troll Nuke Wars Warriors models that are going to be part of my Goliath. So I've done the one Wheel Digger engine,
Yes.
And I've done the guy who I want to use as my ammo jack, and I've got 2 more guys left. One carrying a riot shield with a jackhammer attached to his arm, and then another guy with an axe and a stub gun essentially.
I must admit, your models every time they come up, I absolutely love them. Your original War Boys, I absolutely love them. But you've changed your photographing style. You've started using that. Is it Prisma?
Yeah.
Prism. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I almost think it doesn't show your models off as well as they actually look.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at them,
fantastic.
Thanks. I mean, some of them I do look and think, no, actually, probably. It's annoying because I just can't be bothered to get my photo box out and take a proper photo. I think that's the problem. So by the time I finish painting, it's like 10:30 at night, and I really can't be asked to get anything out. But it's also pitch black, so I've got 2 really powerful lights because my eyes are really naff, so I want the room to be as bright as possible. So I have 2 really bright lights, and then it just glares up the models so much that it just makes them look horrendous. So,
well, for anyone that hasn't seen Tom's models in the flesh, they do look better in the flesh than they do in his poor photographing that he's doing recently. They're lovely models. I seen him in the flesh. I absolutely loved it. Seeing him at Warhammer World. I'm looking forward to seeing you Van Sire in the flesh because I think they look really good in your photos. But I'm looking forward to seeing how much better they look in real life.
Cheers, man. I mean, it's essentially the same rule for my naked body as well. It always looks better in real life than my photos.
Yeah, you can stop sending those photos. I don't appreciate them. I've told you twice now.
You're
stop
part
it.
of the group now. It's what happens when you're part of the messenger group and the Discord. You're going to get those now.
Yeah, I've had this funny thing for a while now. Actually, apparently it's something to do with Aaron and his plague house visits. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah, it's too much Pleasure Dome appointments.
Pleasure Dome, that was it. I'd love to say I've been doing some painting, to be honest. I can't paint to save my life. I know this will start another bit of a war between you and Erin, but I've been out and bought all the contrast paint so that I can paint my models. My intention is all mine are really nicely done. They're done by a local lad called Harry. Problem is he started his own little painting business, and as a result, I have to book him in 3 months in advance. So I don't really want to wait that long. So and I can't always guarantee I'll have money when it's time for him to to take my models off me. So I thought, do you know what, my enforcers pretty basic. I'm just doing black with red trims. Well, I find it difficult to do red because I'm a Chelsea fan, so red is hard to paint. However,
same with me as a Tottenham fan.
Well,
don't want to do Arsenal.
No. What colour Newcastle these days?
They can get stuffed. That won't be relevant when this episode comes out.
Yeah. It was 1-0 today for everyone that didn't know.
Boo.
But no, I'd like to do it myself. And the contrast paints, I had a go of them at the UK Games Expo, and I love them. They're really, really good. For someone with my level of ability, anyway, they are really, really good. The only thing that they don't fix is I've got a really unsteady hand. So I've bought myself a grip. I'm gonna have a go at them. I'm just worried about ruining them because I love them, and I've spent nearly £100 now on additional heads because I can't decide what heads I want. So I bought so many different heads.
War ones, haven't you?
Yeah, I've bought loads of different ones from Puppet War, and the sad thing is I'm never going to use them, so I don't know why I just waste money. I like to waste money. That's what it is. I bought the Nosferatu ones thinking, I want them as vampire police, just have them really got a really blade style. Because I even bought some katanas, and I thought for the shocks that I'll do that, and I thought it'd be really, really good. And then I'm really lazy, I just couldn't bother to do it, so I bought my commando heads instead, and I'm just going to probably put them on when they come. But I've also got the Judge Dredd ones.
Yeah.
I wasn't so keen on it until I can't remember the guy's name. Someone's been putting it on all the pages just recently, and it looks really, really nice. But that's what a good paint job can do.
Yeah.
I just can't paint, but it is really, really nice.
We'll just see how the contrast paints go, because I quite enjoy using them, to be fair.
Well, I mean, like I said, I can't paint, so for me it's great. It's just the keeping in the lines and stuff, but that is because I have such an unsteady hand. Phil Campbell, that's the guy's name. Phil Campbell is posted at Necromunda Worldwide, he's posted everywhere. He's put painted model up of an enforcer with a shouting Judge Dredd head.
Yeah, I think you're using the same heads I have.
Yes.
The Max Mini
but
ones.
No, the Judge Dredd ones he's got are they're the Puppet Swat ones.
Oh, the Puppet Swat ones as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Someone's also put on. I screenshotted the picture. I can't remember what page it was on, but somebody's got the Artel Enforcers.
Yeah, they're really cool.
And then, yeah, well, they've got them with the Puppets War Judge Dredd heads, and then on the right shoulder, I'll send you this picture while I'm talking to you. But on the right shoulder, from what company is it? UK-based company. It'll come to me in a second. Not Zinj. Oh, why can't I think of the name of the company? Anyway, they've bought some shoulder pads from this local company. Gonna find this. Oh, I like that head. What you?
Yeah, I've just sent you a couple as well. They're my Max Mini ones.
Yes,
the Max Mini shields and maces as well. You get with them.
Let me show you this one that I've fallen in love with. That shoulder pad is absolutely amazing. It's like a big eagle, and it's just like Judge Dredd.
Oh, I've seen this today. Yeah, it's really awesome.
Yeah, but then you can get a pack of 10 of them for like £3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're not expensive at all. Literally in about 5 minutes time I'll randomly say a company's name out loud, and I do it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we'll talk about them, I suppose, and how we make them in the law bit, won't we? I mean, in the enforcer bit.
Yeah. I'm doing what I do best. I'm jumping all over the place. don't let me. You have to calm me down when I get all excited.
Well, we could stop here then, because I've discussed everything.
Anvil Industries. Industries.
It's Zinj and Anvil. They're the main two.
Yes.
So we'll stop here for a sec.
I'm
not sure if we should discuss the confirmed news, because apart from the books and the enforcers, and the cards, obviously, which we're all discussing in this episode and the next one, there's nothing else that's come out, is there?
No, nothing.
Apart from the two bounty hunter, the two models, one that looks a bit Orlocky and the one that looks like a Goliath.
Yes, so one of them is from the new book.
Yeah.
And one of them is from the last book. The Orlok one, I think, is from the Book of Peril.
That's right.
Yeah, beautiful model. I want it just to be my leader.
Yeah, it looks awesome, and he's just ammoed up all over his back. He's just got bullets and guns everywhere.
It's a beautiful model. I've bought everything that's come out from Necromunda so far. Every gang, every set of cards, every set of dice, apart from the Forge World stuff. Very, very, very limited amount of Forge World stuff I've bought. But yeah, it is one of those that I think I'm going to need to buy it. I'm really going to need to buy it. However, I thought to myself, this month I'm going to, because there's no big release, I might treat myself to a few other sets of Bounty Hunters, but I've mentioned it to you already, but Aeronautica Imperialis comes out, and that might steal some more money. So there's your confirmed news. Aeronautica Imperialis is up for pre-order next week. It's going to kill me.
There's no other games available. Don't worry about that.
No, there's no other games available. Just Necromunda.
Okay, so we'll have a quick break, and we'll go into the Enforcers as the first part of the new book. So we'll have a break, and we'll be back. Okay guys, welcome back. We're now up to the Enforcers part, which is Carl's main excited bit of the whole podcast. But he's kindly decided that said that he's going to do the law bit, so he's going to read the first paragraph and then we'll jump into the Enforcers.
Kindly was politely told. So, Necromunda endures by the grace of the God Emperor and his inexhaustible armies, but beneath the world's toxic storm clouds it falls to the agents of the Imperial House to maintain the peace and enforce the law. When one must govern a populace of billions, all crammed into the close confines of ancient cities and eking out their lives on recycled food, while they toil endlessly at their task, kind words and even-handed rules are not enough. Only a boot stamping down on the throat of the ungrateful and malcontent will do. The fear of sudden and brutal reprisal keeping millions of desperate souls in line. This monumental responsibility of maintaining order among the hellish confines of the hives falls to the Palanite enforcers.
Way, that was pretty damn impressive. I might just call you up, even on sessions that you aren't doing, just to do the lore for us.
If between now and October, if it's on a weekend, I'm always free.
Sweet. Well, even with these, sometimes me and Michael used to just record them entirely separately on a different day and then just post them to Tony to add.
I will happily read anything you want, no problem.
Wicked. I might send you ones like I did with Michael, though, with words that... I wonder if you do what Ron Burgundy does and Michael does, which is literally read everything that's written in front of you.
Good night, San Diego, and fuck you.
I'm Ron Burgundy. I'll just put a question mark at the end. Okay.
There's no problem with that.
Yeah, wicked. Let's go into the enforcers then. So, I've split up slightly differently than we've done before. So I've done some of the strengths and weaknesses first. So
yes.
So the strengths, things like the equipment, they've got... So enforcers themselves are relatively average, sort of Orlocky style sort of stat line.
Yeah, stat wise, really good, impressive. My fear for these when I first saw them announced is, originally obviously they used to be the Adeptus Arbites, and then we got enforcers in the last edition. Models was beautiful, but rules wise, there was already kitted out and fantastic, and stat lines was better than everyone. There was almost like champion level stats for everybody, but they could only play 3 games, and then they had to miss a game to represent them sort of getting a bit of
paperwork,
rest and rotation out, whatever. So I was hoping that they'd come like a gang as they have. Stats are very average, but part of me likes that because I just see them as bully boys. You know, obviously, you know, I'm a police officer. I've mentioned it several times, I think, already. But when we're dealing with scroats and scumbags and whatever, all the scummers like in the Underhive, all they ever say to us, "Oh, you must have been bullied at school" and stuff like that. But I imagine that these actually was bullied as young kids.
To be fair, I was pulled over once when I was really young by a undercover police officer, and I honestly thought that he used to be bullied at school.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some of our numbers that clearly was bullied at school, and it's a really good chance for them to prove that they're not what everyone used to say they was. But you know, the majority of us are. We're normal people. That's all we are. We're normal people.
Well, my
just
dad
doing
was
a job.
copper as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So you know.
Yeah.
You know. We just
my dad certainly wasn't bullied when he was younger. He was bigger than I am.
Well, I'm a fairly big lad,
you are.
But I was yeah, I was probably in the middle somewhere at school. Probably people bullied me. I probably bullied other people. We just, you know, just one of those things. In it, I was a normal child, is how I like to describe it. But anyway, back to the enforcers. So yeah, stats wise, nothing really impressive. But under the strengths, you've rightly put sort of the equipment first. Now a little list.
Their armour, their armoured undersuits.
Yeah.
They're all standard issue.
Yeah, well, I mean, flak armour, as we know, is nothing exciting. Armoured undersuits basically just gives a mesh armour, which again very Orlocky. With the kids blast, they go to 4+, which is fantastic. It's when you upgrade them to subjugators that they become even better, because then they get another +1 on top of that, and on top of that,
the shield.
You reduce the armour piercing as well. The layered flak armour reduces the armour piercing as well, doesn't it, of weapons that come in. I'm just having a little look.
Because you've got the flak armour, the armoured undersuits, which is the 5+, and then the 4+ against blast and templates. Then you can harden the flak armour for 4 and 3.
Yeah, but all hardening does, it just, if I remember rightly, I think it just knocks off one of the AP. I'm just going to double check that now. I think it just knocks the AP down by 1.
So soft weapons, it wouldn't affect it if they don't have enough AP to start with.
No, but I've seen some interesting arguments towards it, because what it says is it adds 1 to the AP. So I think I'd seen an argument online where someone had said, well, if it's got nothing, then surely get +1 to your armour save, and I think that's not how it's meant to be. But the way it's written, that's how it would come out. So I don't think that's how it's meant to be. But you've already got people arguing saying, oh yeah, that's what it does, but I don't think it does.
No.
Yeah, so it does improve it by 1. So your flak armour and your layered flak armour, it improves by 1. It's when it becomes hardened. So your flak armour is 6+, 5+ against normal non-weapons. Then you've got your layered flak armour, which is what the subjugators have, and that's a 5+, 4+ against templates. But then if you harden it, it does exactly the same thing, apart from it decreases the armour penetration of weapon used is decreased by 1 to a minimum of 1, it says.
Right.
But because I think it should be to a minimum of -1, not 1. Because to a minimum of 1 would suggest 0 becomes 1.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make sense. So flak armour, hardened flak armour. For hardening it, all it does is knock the AP down by 1. But the hardened flak armour, really, really good. But again, it's subjugators only.
Right.
But subjugators are a bit. The gang's slightly weird how it works.
Some of them are subjugators, some of them are palatines, aren't they?
Yeah, so when you're recruiting them, you spend 10 credits extra to make them a subjugator. So nothing changes with the stats, it just opens up. They get slightly better armour in that the 5+, they get the hardened flak armour, so instead of having a 5+, they have a 6+, so they have a 5+, then with the undersuit as well, right? Oh, so it becomes layered flak armour. Yeah, that's right. The layered flak, which is the one that gives an extra +1. The big difference you see, it's the weapons that you can choose from.
Yeah.
So basic weapons on a normal person, on a normal enforcer, is bolt gun, shotgun. Whereas for a subjugator, it's a grenade launcher. That's the only option. But it costs the same as a bolt gun. So you have better armour, but you have a longer range weapon, which is where it's a bit weird. Close combat weapons, they both have shock bat and shock stave, but the subjugators can have the assault shield, which is where you want to get in nice and close. So subjugator with a shield and a shock bat or a shock stave, I can't understand why we wouldn't take a shock stave over a shock bat, and it's 5 points cheaper, and it's got a 2-inch range. But that's a weird conversation for another time. I think.
Well, we talk about the weapons further down, because I've got bits and pieces about the weapons and stuff.
Yes,
some
excellent.
of the close combat stuff is better than others, I feel.
Yeah, don't let me jump ahead then.
But the automatic replacements I like as well.
Yes.
When an enforcer is killed, they're automatically replaced with a fresh rookie at no cost.
Yeah. You only get 1, I think it says. So if an enforcer patrol gang deletes 1 or more dead or retiring fighters during step 6A of the post-battle sequence, they can recruit a single Palatine rookie patrolman. So you only get 1, and they do have a due sort of stat line, but they're free. So you can't really grumble, you can't really complain.
No. And also, if say you start with 7 and you lose 2 until you gain 1 and you get 6, with the next game that you play, could you technically then get another Juve to replace the original one that you lost to make it back up to 7? Because it says
because it's during step 6A, isn't it? If you delete 1 or more during step 6A, so during that one step.
So it has to be in the game, the actual game that you lost them in.
Yeah, but the only way someone's going to be dead is if you roll dead. If someone gets a chest wound and they're going to become -1 toughness, you're probably going to, especially early in a campaign, you're probably just going to retire them.
Yeah.
Just don't retire them at that point. Wait till your next game. So keep them on your roster. Then after the next game, when you've played again, just go, I'm just going to retire them and I get a free Juve.
Because you can put them at the front anyway, can't you? You can be bullet fodder.
Yeah, well, I mean, stats-wise, they're exactly the same as a normal. They come the same as a normal M4 patrolman. The only difference is it's weapon skill versus skill 5. It's like everything else. All their leadership, core, willpower, intelligence. They're all 1 lower as well. But because it says Juve in brackets, they level up like a Juve.
Right.
So
you can bring them up quite quick.
Yeah, because they get the stats and they don't get the +2 penalty to increase it again. So the only weird thing with that is in a campaign, when you have a break in a campaign, Jews become champions. Well, they can't become champions, but that I'm jumping into something that's a weakness there, so I won't mention that just yet.
Well, but, we can go into weaknesses now. I mean, if we spoke about the automatic replacement.
Yeah.
So do you want to go into that one first?
Can do, yeah. The trading post, so they've got no access to the trading post on a black market. Obviously, as you put it, the most unique thing about them is that they can't use that. They can only choose from the weapons list that's available to, which makes their... If for people that haven't seen the list, the weapons, it's not much different to other houses. There's not as many options. War gear is a fair few. Personal equipment, there's quite a lot of items. But again, this has opened up a lot of controversy, shall we say. I don't know, I posted something, I started getting loads of like sarcastic replies, but I was just being honest. Manacles, which are handcuffs, they're not on there. They're not on their list, and they don't get them as standard, so they can't have handcuffs. But handcuffs you can buy at the black market.
Well, the other argument is that it says that you can't choose you must choose weapons from the subjugator Palatine list, but it doesn't mention war gear.
Yes.
So then, does it mean that you can pick up war gear from the black market, but just not weapons?
Well, it's what it says is during the course of the campaign, gangs may gain new equipment either by purchasing it from the gang's house list or as a result of scavenging. These items are added to the gang's stash and may be distributed, blah blah blah. So a fighter cannot be given a new weapon of a type not allowed by their entry within their house. A fighter can be given additional weapons, but they have additional fighter cards as like champions, etc. But yeah, so they don't have access to it. It says they buy their equipment off that list, and equipment it includes war gear.
Right.
So they can only buy it. So scavenging is the only way we're going to get it. But there's no mention of scavenging. I've been through every book because I've got them all digitally as well, as you know. I've been through every book, and the word scavenging is only mentioned there. Yeah, which would suggest to me that the next book along is going to suggest. I think it's going to be as simple as I take one of your guys prisoner. I can keep their equipment. I've scavenged it, and that to me it's like a trophy. It's going to be like a trophy for your gangers, for your enforcers. You know, from the bloody hell, yeah, I took out your Escher champion and kept her a shock whip because it's my little trophy of how I destroyed her or whatever. Do you know that sort of thing? I took that gang down, I claimed that bounty. She's in the salt mines now. This was her whip. Look at it. Yeah, it's mine now.
Or like if I took your last cannon, but now I can't use it.
Yeah, whoa, leave my last cannon alone.
Oh well, my Vantar heavy plasma cannon then.
Yeah, you can have that.
Oh, fair enough.
You just can't have my light. I told you, it's become very special to me. But yeah, I was looking at the Manacles themselves. I mean, the rules wise, again they're quite fun. Just quickly find where they are here. It allows you to, if you're in base-to-base contact with someone as an attack basic action, they've got to take an initiative check. So there's no point in doing it to Escher, as you know. If the test is failed, they're locked in place and cannot move, cannot make range attacks, and can only make melee attacks at -2 to hit. Target can attempt to free themselves by performing a break bonds, which is a double action. They roll 2d6, and if it's equal or lower than their strength, then they've freed themselves. Otherwise, they remain trapped. And each friendly fighter in base contact with them adds 2 to the strength for the purpose of this roll. But I like the idea of just going around and going, yep, you're handcuffed, yep, you're handcuffed, yep, you're handcuffed. Or if you multi-charge someone, first one can put handcuffs on, and the second one can just hit them hard. You're going to get +1 because of the support anyway, and then they're -2 because of -1 because of the actual support anyway, the interference. But then they're going to be -2 because the Manacles are -3 to hit. So the chance of them actually fighting back is slim to none. Stop resisting! Stop resisting!
It's weird because the Goliaths are the ones that are most likely to get caught, but also most likely to break out.
Yeah, the ones that in real life you'd never be able to cuff them. You just let them tire themselves out. Taser.
Just hope your batteries don't run out.
Yeah, but so it's a weird one. I imagine it's probably going to be an FAQ. I did share the other day that I think it was a tale of 4 gamers. I can't remember the name of it. One of the websites though, he did share a picture where it insinuated like GWR doing an FAQ. Tales of a Tabletop Skirmisher. He put a picture on where it says FAQ and errata update, Necromunda the rules, Necromunda Gang War 1. So it's an old picture he shared. I didn't notice that at the time. But I'm hoping that we get a little bit of an errata. So I don't like it when they make mistakes, but it's a GW thing anyway. We know they're going to do it. They're always going to do it. But it just seems like a bit of a typo to me. I know that in my campaign, I think I'm going to make it that they can buy equipment and equipment only, and that to me would just represent them modifying their own stuff.
Yeah.
A good example is at work now. My PPE, my ASP, it's garbage. If I'm to use my ASP, even to put a window in, for example, once you put it away. If you use it a second time, because the cheap ones that they buy, they buckle and bend, so they're no good. You have to order a new one from stores. I've done the job for 3 years. I've never used my ASP for that reason, because I've seen them, they just break too easy. But you can buy a proper ASP from the company ASP, because I was at ASP. And you get good quality ones that are really good. You can buy extra tips for the ends, so they can put windows in really easy. It's just really good quality equipment, but they don't issue it as because of the cost. It's like body armour. We have new body armour now. It's got ballistic protection for pistols only, possibly 5.56, but they tell us that. I don't believe that it would. But 9mm ballistic rounds, but they used to have it's stab and slash resistant or proof. It's not as resistant. But the old body armour we used to have, it used to cover your chest, your back, and your shoulders. But that body armour was too expensive, so we don't have it now. So the one we've got now is just your front and your back.
Right.
But when we have our officer safety training, it talks to us about being stabbed. There's two ways someone will come out with a knife. One of them is to thrust it towards you. The other is an overhand.
Yeah, down on your back and shoulders.
Yeah. So we've got a 50-50 chance of being saved.
Bonus. But it's cheaper.
So some people buy plates to go over the shoulders. Some people buy their own body armour. However, you're not really meant to do it, and certain supervision will say, nah, it's not issued, it goes. Firearms course I'm doing at the moment, I've bought myself some bungee cords, because weapon retention, if I'm to approach a subject and I've got my carbine in my hand, obviously I can't approach them with a gun in my hand, so I put it at the side of me. There's a clip on our body armour that you unclip, and it's almost got a bit of a bungee cord, like a stretch on it. You put the rifle to the side here and you stretch it over it and clip it back in place. I'm telling you now, it doesn't wear. It's not quick, it's not easy, and all that time, the more time that they're sat there saying what you're doing, the more likely to try and do a runner. So I've bought myself a bungee cord, which is what they use in Humberside. Basically, you stretch it out, stick the barrel of the gun in it, you let go, and it just whips it round your back, and it just stays there instantly, and it takes 2 seconds.
But you basically have to buy your own stuff.
Yeah. Notebooks, we don't get notebooks anymore now, we do it all on mobile phones. But you imagine that, seeing knowing your next door neighbour's been broken into, and the next day you see a police officer arrive, then they're in there for half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, however long they're in there. Then the next thing you see, they're sat outside in the car on the mobile phone. It looks really unprofessional, it looks really bad, but in reality what we're doing is we're updating the log, we're updating comms to let them know what we're doing, we're saying that we've spoken to them, this is what's happened, this is what we now need at this address, this is what I would suggest, recommend, blah blah blah, all the paperwork, all the stuff we do. But it looks like you're texting away on your mobile phone.
Yeah.
It looks really bad. They're adamant that they've done polls and it looks fine and people accept it's the modern way. I disagree, I don't like it. I try and drive away, or I'm using my officer notebook now that I've bought. Buy my own notebooks, just because it looks. If you see me writing in a notebook, it looks like it's police work. If you see me on a mobile phone, it looks like I'm tossing it off.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's by the by. So I assume, to me, that's what will happen. I think equipment, they can buy their own equipment.
That'd be fair enough.
Yeah.
And then the other weakness I found is the enforcers are prohibited only having 2 kind of their version of champions.
Yes.
So you can't have any more. So what happens to the Jews?
Well, that's it. They obviously won't be promoted to sergeants. I would assume you'd house rule it to say they become a normal ganger. But the other reason you do that is to then they change back to the
normal way to gain experience.
Yeah. I suppose it doesn't really matter, to be honest. I can't imagine a lot of people playing campaigns that run that long anyway. I've played a few now, and apart from when I put my rule in, which was too good, they just don't earn enough experience. The weapon skill, ballistic skill is so low, they don't earn the experience quick enough to get 3 level ups in time. If you do a normal campaign that's 7 weeks long or 7 windows long, in that first 3 windows, they need to level up 3 times or 3 advances bought to make them become a champion. It just doesn't happen. So for me, I imagine it just stay a Jew forever, and you just always be calling them kid. I did think it was a weakness. I was sat looking at it earlier, obviously preparing for this recording, and I was thinking it is a massive weakness because most of my gangs I always get a third champion, and it with the original Turf War campaign system you needed the champions because that was how you got your money. With the new one, with the Dominion and with the new campaign that we're not talking about today, you don't need it. You just get your income from your turf, so it doesn't really matter how many champions you've got. So I looked at it as a really big weakness and thought, it's going to be really bad that. However, I think it's a really good thing that they've put in to balance them out.
It also makes sense in a squad that you wouldn't have 4 sergeants out of 8 model people.
No, definitely not. And the thing is as well is we missed off sort of at the beginning with the strengths, the weapons. Well, I say it's down in weapons here. The weapons are really good. Yes, so stats are average, but the weapons are really good. And as a campaign goes on, I imagine in an early part of a campaign, early to middle part of the campaign, I think enforcers are going to be the best gangs in your campaign. But once people start chucking a las cannon in with their Orlocks, or double shock whips on Escher champions that can jump 54 floors and not
land fine,
yeah. So towards sort of the back end of the middle to the back end of the campaign, I think that's when enforcers actually they'll start needing numbers of good average people with good equipment. I do think it'll balance out, and I think if you had 3 or 4 sergeants in there, they probably would get too good. So I think it was a good little balancing act they put in there for that more reliable weaponry that they've got, definitely.
And even then, in where you are in the police and stuff, it doesn't, just because you're the sergeant, it doesn't make you the best person. It just means that you've managed to get the promotion, and that there might be normal PCs that are way more skilled but aren't the sergeants. It's just because you're skilled, it doesn't mean that you're the one who's in charge.
To get promoted, it's an exam. It's an exam now. So you do an exam, and that exam lasts for 5 years. So I could sit. March just gone, I'd been in for 2 years, so I could sit that exam for the first time. I could pass that exam, and there is a sergeant in Umberside who's passed his exam after 2 years, becomes an acting sergeant straight away, and they've got 2 years to then pass a board, 3 years, sorry, to pass a board, which basically is give an example of when you have that sort of thing. Every one of them that passes the board, it's usually because they screw a normal PC. So they basically go, you're underperforming with this, I'm going to put you on an action plan to improve you, blah blah blah. And the officers get out of it because no one wants to put an action plan, so they improve. And if they don't improve, they just get rid of them, and then that gets them promoted. And I hate it because you get sergeants that are no good at the job. They've got confirmed in posts from bullying officers who have potentially been struggling and needed some help. And all it is ultimately someone who can pass an exam, and that's it. That's all they're good at. Whereas me, I'm awful at exams. But prior to the police, I've been a manager for 15 years. I've been a sales director. I've managed people. As you can tell, I waffle a lot. I talk a lot. I'm good at talking to people. It's one of my biggest strengths. But I'm not very good with exams. So as a result, I've not even bothered going for it because I don't think I would pass it because it's really. It's usually multiple choice, but they'll give you like a definition of a piece of legislation, and they'll change the word "the" to and it's which is the wrong word in this, or is this correct? And you look and go, well, yeah, that's right, and one word's wrong, and you thought, I've got it wrong. But anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, you're right. Sergeants don't necessarily make the best ones, and it is reflected in their stats. I think the only difference in the stats is the leadership and cool is a lot better on the sergeants. Leadership's 5+. Cool is a 6+, whereas it's 7. Cool and willpower is 6+, whereas it's 7s on the patrolman. Other than that, the only difference in the stats is they have 2 wounds, so they only even have 1 attack as well. Yeah. So you can make them subjugators, which are meant to be combat orientated, and they still only have 1 attack on the profile. So
yeah, you just have to give them that 2, if you can, 2 close combat weapons and get them to charge.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what is missing off your weaknesses list actually that I've noticed is the skills. I know you've got
we've got the skills coming up next. You're not a fan of them?
Nah, they're not great, but what was missing off the skills is it's the first gang where the leader doesn't have access to leadership skills. It's only a secondary option for him. And I think every gang you always take a leadership skill for your leader because they're fantastic. But yeah, it's only a secondary skill for them. So the primaries for leaders, the Palatine drills and brawn. Brawn skills are crap as well. They can take shooting actually. Shooting's not bad. I do think they'll favour a very shooting heavy gang in the end. Not going to be as good as Van Saar, but probably not far behind. The skills. I'm happy to move on to skills.
Yeah, let's go through the skills, and then we'll go through the weapons after that.
I'll let you kick off the skills.
Sweet. So we've got skills. So got your 6. It's kind of like Overwatch. It's only triggered when a visible enemy declares a charge, and then rather than activate, it doesn't remove the medi marker either.
No, so that makes it better than Overwatch in that regard.
Yeah.
But it's a slightly different trigger condition with the having to charge.
Yeah. So, but it's not if they're charging you, is it? It's if they're charging anybody.
Yeah.
But as long as you can see and as long as your gun's in range.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a really good one to stick on a sergeant or a normal patrolman, really, because they can all take them with a sniper rifle. It's a really good one for that. The other one as well is there's no restriction on like it being unwieldy, basic, simple, whatever. So to me, it leads to when you've been through all the skills, I see you working in triangles, where you have somebody at the front who's basically bait.
Yeah, tanking.
You've then got one slightly behind with got your 6, and should they fail to hit, because obviously they only have an average hit, your other person in that triangle has threat response, but I won't jump onto that because that's further down. But then you're working in squads of 3s. You'd have almost like, so you'd have your leader or a sergeant taking out a squad of two
other guys.
I see it quite fluffy as well. To be fair, I see it quite just mini patrols basically. So that serial's turned up at a job or an area of unrest, and basically splitting into. We double crew it when we're on our public order, but I see it as a turned up to a big public order event, splitting to triple crewing rather than double crewing, and going right. Let's. I'm going to cover this alley. You cover that alley. Let's see what's actually going on down here. But I'll mention it when we get to that third skill.
Yeah, because the Helmwise Justice one, I'm trying to still get my head round that you roll twice on the lasting injury table when you've performed a coup de grace. I don't know what that really does apart from.
So it's a way to upset your opponent. Yeah. You roll twice. You roll twice and pick the injury I want to give you.
And that's at the end of the game, isn't it? So it's not.
Well, if you follow the rules properly now, you're supposed to roll the injury when you get out of action. So if you're out of action there, and then you're supposed to roll.
Because I don't normally do that. We normally do that at the end.
Yeah, we normally do, but for the campaign we've started doing it at the time. But the only reason we started doing it at the time is when I've been doing the comic type strip things. If I shoot someone, they fall off a ledge and they pick up a leg injury where they can't walk no more. It's quite funny. They've fallen broken, they've snapped their leg. They're going to need pins in it. You know what I mean? Or landed on their chest, and you can almost write it a bit different rather than he's fallen, got out of action, and then at the end his injury was. It's quite good to say. Not only did I shoot you off that ledge, I broke your leg or blinded you in one eye. Do you know that sort of thing? So
it's like a dick move skill, really, isn't it? It's like it's like a dick move skill. Like you're just being a bit more of an arse.
Yeah, it's a really good way to
lose friends.
I mean, it could swing in roundabouts. To be fair, though, if you've got somebody who's smashing a campaign and they're really, really good at what they're doing, and let's say the arbiters using this gang, you can go up to some really strong characters and go, do you know what, we've finally gotten down with these amazing bolt guns that we've got. Go up to them, do you know what, I'm going to coup de grace you. Oh, you're only going into recovery. Roll it again. Oh yes, blinded in one eye. Man's on ballistics. I'm going to give him that.
Yeah.
Whereas you're playing a lower ranked gang, roll twice. yeah, I'm just gonna have it as out cold. You know, so they just miss the rest of this game. That's the end of it. And you can, you could almost, can swings and roundabouts. But if someone's gang is really struggling, you can use it to their benefit. If someone's gang's just romping at you, do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to give you a worse one because you need bringing down a peg or two. So, but we know what people are like. Everyone's just going to take the bad one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Then the restraining protocols.
You've missed out non-verbal.
Oh yeah, of course I have. The bearer of the skill can use double action to trigger a call check on friendly models within 6 inches to have a free. Yeah, this one was I could only imagine this is helpful when you're doing things that in the dark and stuff.
It's just crap. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, that would work.
I can only imagine it would be on sentry sort of things and stuff like that.
Yeah, that might work.
But that's really specific. And why would you give yourself a skill that you could only use in very small amounts of time, in very specific missions?
Yeah, I mean, if someone's going into combat as well, it stops you having that rear arc, for the -1 to hit when you're turning round and stuff. Because if someone's coming up and they're going to charge, let's say your leader with his big engine block's about to charge my guy at the front, and I've got no way to countercharge, no threat response. I could go, do you know what, I'll use non-verbal comms on this guy, because I'm not going to be able to get close enough to get in the fight, but that guy that is 6 inches away from me that is going to get charged, you know what, because when you charge, you don't have to charge direct base to base, do you? So what a lot of people, if I get enough movement, I'm trying to run past you a little bit, turn around and get you in the back, so that not only am I probably going to take you out of action, and then obviously you're facing the wrong way, so you have to then turn and fight me, your -1 to hit me, so to make it a little bit less likely to hurt me if you do charge, if you do manage to survive.
There's a lot of set triggers though, like your bearer has to have still the double actions, then pass a call check, of which you need a friendly model within 6 inches.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of...
Call check's not great because your average guy is call check 7, the Juve is 8, the leader is 6 and the sergeant's a 6. So yes, okay, your average roll on 2d6 is 7, but you've got to roll average or better. You have a bad roll, and what a waste of a skill.
Yeah, for the only one mission that you can use it.
Yeah, I think the way there is bad. This is bad. I agree. This is very bad.
Yeah. Then we've got restraint protocols. Then I've finally got to that one. So give an enforcer skill allowed to restrain a seriously injured opponent instead of coup de grace. And at the end of the game, it gives them a +1 check to see opponents restrained in this manner capturing the enemy, and you can ransom them back. So it means you're more likely to make money. Yes,
but as it says at the bottom there, does it still take them out of action? I would say it does.
Yeah, I would say it does as well.
Yeah, but the end of the game capture, how many times do you ever roll it? I forget it all the time. You're supposed to roll 2d6 and add +1 for everyone that goes out of action, and then on a 13 or higher, one of those that went out of action becomes captured. So average roll 7. If I've taken 4 out, 5 out, you've got to take quite a few out and then get a couple with restraining protocols. They get it. I can't see it happening very often. I can't see it triggering very often. Big gangs, Chaos Cults, Gene Stealer Cults, and Cordor, where they're putting 10 models on the board every time, then yeah, maybe, because it's going to be. But then even then, if you take 5 out, average roll is still only getting 12, so you're +1, so you have to. And then you still have to take them out as a coup de grace. This gang is lined up to shoot people out of action, and then bolt guns and grenades. You're going to be shooting people all day long. You aren't going to be coup de grace very often. So it is good. It's very fluffy in terms of the title, and if you add Magnicals, even though they can't have them, that might be quite a fun way to. I'm going to handcuff you. Makes it really hard for you to hit me, and then when I take you out, I'm then going to restrain you as well. Fluff wise, I think it's brilliant, but yeah, I'd only ever take it if I had loads of XP to waste, and I didn't want to make them tougher or stronger or better in combat or better at shooting or better at attacking. Yeah. So probably never going to be chosen.
Nah. And there's teamwork. Yes. Basically commanding presence, pretty much.
Yes. Can't remember what.
So I think it's the one where I think commanding presence is that you can add one more person to the people you bring along. I'm going to just double check that now.
Commanding presence. Where was I? Teamwork. So teamwork is when a fighter with this skill is activated, they may make a group activation as if they were a champion, as described on page 57 Necromunda. If this fighter is a champion, they can activate 2 additional fighters within 3 inches.
Yeah, it's essentially commanding presence.
Yeah, which is not too bad on a normal ganger, but normal gangers, they only get it if they become a specialist anyway.
Yeah, I think it's something that maybe like where you're talking about splitting people into teams. Yes. It means that you can carry that even the sergeants can carry the 3, like the 2 extra people, and you can always group activate together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not too bad.
Yeah. It's not too. Yeah, it's not too. It's not the best one there.
No.
It's not too bad. It's yeah. I'd give it an average.
Yeah.
An average. Yeah, it's situational.
And then threat response.
This is my favourite.
Yeah.
Sump croc.
Yeah, basically. After any enemy charges, any model with this skill can change the ready marker for a guaranteed 6-inch counter charge that swings before the enemy has had a chance to attack. So if you had a couple of guys with that, they'd all kind of jump in, and then you'd have the +1 assistance bonuses.
So this is why I said it works well in a 3. So you've got your person at the front who is your sacrificial ganger or whatever. You've then got quite a bit further back. You've got your person with
threat response. Oh no, sorry,
6.
On your 6, yeah.
Got your 6, yeah. You don't want the models too close, because if they're too close, people don't generally charge into a clump. They'd rather just shoot. So your threat response person wants to be maybe 4 inches or 5 inches behind, because they can guarantee to charge 6. So you got your 6. So they go to charge. It fails. You go to shoot them. If you pin them, then that's their turn over. It don't matter. But if it fails, if you miss completely, because they've only got an average ballistic skill of 4 pluses anyway, I mean even the captain's only got 4 plus, so you're not always going to get it off. So whilst it is a good skill, it is quite situational anyway, because you have to be able to see the person that's charging. So it's not great, but if it fails, fair enough. They then complete the charge as normal, but before they complete that charge, the actual fight, your third person, which is generally probably the sergeant or the captain, because they are a little bit better in combat, they then counter charge, get a chance to put you on your ass basically, because the person that they've originally charged is still in the combat, so they get -1 to hit you back because of interference, and you get +1 to hit. So all of a sudden, let's say it's your captain with his weapon skill 3 becomes 2+ because of his assisting colleague. Then if he had a shock stave instead of a power maul or shock maul, it's got a 2-inch melee, so he's actually got an 8-inch reach. So I charge 6 inches, stop 2 inches away from me. I'm getting support from my oppo, and I'm at strength 4 because it's strength 3 plus the 1 for
the shock stave, the versatile one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if they do manage to survive it, that's great. If they do manage to survive it, they then still got to hit you back with a -1 to hit against 2 targets, because you can split your attacks across them. I mean, no Marlock, it'd be a Goliath leader that charges and kill both of them instead. But that's not the point. But I think it's a good way of making them work quite thematically in 3s. So you've got that sort of average person in the middle. Probably with it, if you do it right, you can make them a subjugator with a shield. So they are built for defence anyway. And you've got that more aggressive threat response officer, and then you've got the I want to say the sniper. It doesn't have to be a sniper, it's the bolt gun, because bolt gun with the rapid fire. But again, knowing my luck and knowing police luck, because they are the most unlucky people ever, that bolt gun and rapid fire miss, and then all 3 shots and hit my own guy in the back.
Yeah. I mean, but, my game, he was shooting for his own models. I'll talk about that later, but he was incredibly lucky.
Yes.
He managed to not hit anyone. Well, he didn't hit me either though, so I think he tried too hard. not to hit anybody.
Well, we've had someone exploiting that rule in our campaign, because what it says is you draw an inch from the line of the shot, and somebody was stacking his models, presenting a target forward. Let's say, for example, a Vansar model with a shield, where they're hard to hit anyway at the best of times. But when you miss, that line is base to base or centre base to centre base. That inch extends an inch behind them. So because they had a model stood directly behind them, said, well, the rule says target to target 1 inch, so we had to allow it that he shot the guy behind him, so he had to roll for the guy behind him to see if he hit him instead, and it did. Because it's not just your own models, it's enemy models as well. So if you're really clever, if they've got a group of 3 models, try and do the cool check to see if you can shoot the one at the back, because then if you do miss, on a 1, 2 or 3 you get the 2 models in front of them instead. Or one of the models, so you potentially get a 50-50 chance of still hitting somebody else. But it's been a bit sneaky and exploiting rules, that. But anyway, that's a tale for another time.
If you fail your call check, does that mean you can't shoot at all?
You just have to shoot the nearest model.
So you might as well always shoot past.
Exactly. So you've got 2 models next to each other, or literally one like slightly staggered. I'll try and shoot the one at the back. Just call check. Okay, fail the call check, so I have to shoot the nearest model instead. But if you do pass it and you roll, let's say it's a 4+ to hit that model, I fail to hit, you then trace that line of shooting. So the model that's in front of them on a 1, 2 or 3, I hit that model instead. So I miss, I hit that model instead, but it's not a bad thing.
No.
Whereas if I shot the model in front, you just miss altogether.
Okay, I might have to start shooting at the person behind from now on.
And if they're base to base, if they are base to base, even if you do shoot the one in front and then you miss, that line of drawing the line from my model to your model, everyone within an inch of that line, so left and right, it's also past it. So if that line stops on your model, base to base, that model is within an inch because it's directly behind, so you still get a chance to shoot the model directly behind. It's again, it's someone exploiting rules as written, but it's an exploitation that they've taken advantage of.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Bloody gamey people.
Yeah, that's it. Can't be asked to pay those people.
Some of them are alright to play, but it's when they start getting really, I can only see that part of the models. No. What do you think it is? -2? Okay, it's -2.
Yeah.
I just tell me what you want me to do and I'll do that. I've got no time for. But thankfully we don't have many. We don't have really any in our group anymore. To be fair, the gaming ones don't play anymore.
Fair enough. That's a shame.
They got fed up of people not wanting to play them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Should we go into the weapons then, seeing as we've gone through the skills?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
So basic weapons then. So the Enforcer bolt gun is essentially the same, but it's 5 credits cheaper, and you get an ammo roll of 4+ instead of 6+.
Yes.
Which is a lot better.
Which is brilliant. I've put bolt guns galore and bolt pistols galore in my Orlocks just because, well, they're amazing. But that 6+ ammo on them it's a nightmare, because once you're out of ammo, you're just ditching it. You're slinging it and switching to your backup equipment. But 4+, that's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I think, can they take 7 skills? Let me have a look. So, they can take no, they can't take 7 skills. That's
it's
a shame,
shooting, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking munition here. You could, if they fail it, re-roll it as well, which means statistically they're never really going to run out of ammo. But
can you get hangers on in Enforcers?
There's nothing so you can't. So hangers on.
Could you ammo jack?
On. Yes. So all the hangers on, all the brutes. There are some new hangers on in this book, but they're like, some are law abiding and some are outlaw runners. So they'll only be able to take law abiding ones. But yes. But yeah, but the bolt guns are fantastic. Shotguns
essentially the same as that same thing, aren't they? Just cheaper.
Yeah. Are they cheaper?
They're essentially combat shotguns, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm used to combat shotguns being 55, but I don't know if that's an Orlock thing.
That might be an Orlock thing. I think they're 60.
Yeah.
No, they are 60 because they are for my Goliath.
Yeah, I think they're 55 for Orlocks.
Ah.
But I never take them because combat shotguns in Zone Mortalis, amazing. In full 3D terrain, they're no good because the range is just too short.
I mean, I've got one for my Goliaths, and then we were only allowed 10 models in the scenario we played, and he was my 11th man, and he was the one who ended up rolling off, that he couldn't join the gang.
Ah, good.
So his
Absolutely.
first gang, ready to play his first game, couldn't even make it to the board.
Shocking.
But I nearly lost my Zerker, so that's fine.
Oh, you want him to die?
Yeah. No, I mean, the Zerker got in because he was the one, just because I rolled basically a D12, 2D6, and excluded one. It's because I had 11 models. Thankfully, the Zerker was the one just below that number, so it was him that went and not the Zerker. Then there was the subjugation pattern grenade launcher. It's essentially a grenade launcher.
Well, it isn't, because it doesn't come with frag and crack. It comes with frag and stun grenades. So I'll just have a look at stun grenades. So 60, it's the same as everything else really. They're only strength 2, AP -1, damage 1, ammo 4+, but it has the concussion trait. But it also has the grenade trait, which is weird because grenade trait is you have to do an ammo check every time you fire them. And then once they're gone, they're gone.
You'd think it'd be something they'd have a lot of.
Well, it's part of the weapon, isn't it? So I don't know if that's potentially a typo. But the concussion trait, it's not something I don't actually remember what it does, if I'm honest, off the top of my head. But cause I was looking at the concussion carbine. I don't think it's a particularly great skill to have. I'd rather have had crack grenades. I think you're probably doing the same thing as me, trying to find it.
Initiative is reduced by 2 to a maximum of +5.
That's
to the end of the round.
Yeah, to be fair, actually, if they're on a building ledge, for example, probably really good.
Also, if you think you're about to... Well, no, initiative doesn't really affect combat. Not in the same way that it used to in the olden days, where it used to be the highest initiative struck first. That would always be handy.
Well, I didn't bring my tactics because I'm at my brother's house. I didn't bring my tactics cards with me. There's only in the pack of tactics cards for enforcers. There's only 4 that are enforcer specific, which is really disheartening. But one of them is for that round, for that turn. All close combat weapons have the concussion trait. But I don't really see the point to it, if I'm honest, because what's the point? -2 initiative. It's only if they become prone that they may fall off a building edge. However, if you're going prone anyway, you're just going to take them out of action because you're going to coup de grace them.
Does it? I mean, maybe if another weapon has knockback, you can start thumping people to the edge of things. Or the problem is that I would probably use this in conjunction with a weapon that needed the initiative to be low for people to be able to escape, but then the enforcers don't have those weapons that would take the benefit of them having a low initiative. I don't know. I probably wouldn't use it.
No. Seismic, the heavy concussion ram, one of the heavy weapons. That's got the seismic roll. The seismic roll, I think that's an initiative check, and that's what. Oh no, it's a toughness check, isn't it? Seismic. That's all where it pins them in place so they can't escape.
And it bypasses like nerves of steel and stuff.
Yeah. So that's against. Yeah, there's nothing it really would work with, to be fair. So it's an unusual one. Like I say, it's good if people are on the edge of buildings, but otherwise, it's not anything I would. Seismic. If the target of a seismic attack is active, they're always pinned. If they have an ability that would normally allow them to avoid being pinned by range attacks, in addition, if the wound roll for a seismic weapon is a natural of 6 and no save can be made. So it's automatically pinned.
Looking at the subjugation pattern grenade launcher though, it does say choking gas, frag grenades, crack grenades, photon flash grenades. So are these all ones you could buy on top?
Yes, so you're on the page that shows the Palatine weapons. If you went to the gang composition and see when you're buying them, you pay. Let's have a little look. You pay.
Yeah, because they're not next to each other, which I find annoying.
No, 50 credits. So it's cheap as well, but it comes with frag and stun grenades. Then when you look at what in the war gear section of the grenades, you can have choke gas grenades, frag grenades, photon flash grenades, smoke grenades, stun grenades. And they will all be for the grenade launcher, I imagine.
So you can buy them, but
yeah. Oh, so yeah, there you are. So under personal equipment, you can buy choke gas grenades for grenade launcher. You can buy crack grenades for grenade launcher, photon flash grenades for grenade launcher. So you buy the normal grenade launcher for 50 credits, and then you spend 15 credits extra, and you can have the photon flash grenades in there as well.
Cool.
So you can kit him out with everything. It just depends what weapons you want.
35 points for crack grenades for a grenade launcher.
Yes. However, I know that sounds scary, but how good are they?
But how much is a normal grenade launcher? I can't remember.
65, I think.
So this would be more expensive.
It would. It's 20 credits more, but the stun grenades normally 15 credits. Right. So it's probably why it's a cheaper price to factor in the stun grenades instead of crack grenades.
Right. So that's the basic weapons essentially. Then there's pistols, which is a stub gun and an auto pistol. So nothing really that is special for that.
They all come with a stub gun as standard. That's worth mentioning it. So they'll get that for free built into their cost. Auto pistol. I like the auto pistol, but there's none on the sprue.
No.
But on the box, in the website when you look, it tells you it comes with 10 auto pistols. And then someone said to me, again, I put that on one of the Facebook groups, and someone said to me that is that's because a holstered pistol can be any pistol you want it to be.
Right.
So what they're saying.
Well, then it can come with 10 plasma pistols as well. Then.
Exactly. So to me, it should just say 10 holstered pistols rather than 10 auto pistols. I just like the man stopper rounds for the auto pistol. Because they're just bolt pistol rounds basically. Then you can get dum-dum rounds for the stub gun that are pretty similar as well.
Yeah, because you can't normally get those for auto pistols, can you?
No, it was a new weapon to this book, I believe, the man stoppers. Let's have a little look. Special ammunition. There's loads of special ammunitions in this book. Warp rounds, static rounds, gas rounds, focusing crystal. It's a really good book.
Yeah, there is loads of stuff.
I'm looking at Xeno weapons at the minute. I shouldn't be.
No, it's fine. I mean, we can always come back to that anyway. I'll go on to the next one if you want to keep looking.
There's your man stopper. So yeah, strength 4, rapid fire. It's got the limited rule. So limited is when you run out of ammo, you actually have to delete them off your roster as well.
Right.
So once you run out of ammo, you are out of ammo for good. But yeah, because the book introduces fragmentation rounds as well, which is
nice.
-1 to their armor basically, so it just rips them apart when it hits them. But yeah, man stopper rounds is the bit I like. Strength 4 auto pistol basically with rapid fire.
Cool.
So yeah, you can't grumble at that. It's just, as I say, when you run out of ammo, you are screwed.
Yeah. So the special weapons, I've seen quite a few people happy about this one. There's concussion carbine. It's essentially an 18-inch frag grenade launcher that auto pins because of seismic.
Yes.
And has -1 AP.
Yeah, I didn't like it at first. I didn't like it at first, but blast, concussion, knockback, and seismic. They're all great. +1 to hit at short range, but I suppose that's quite handy because you don't want it scattering back onto yourself.
Which is the opposite to a grenade launcher, which I found out in another game. I was like, I'm not going to get within close range.
Yes, don't shoot a grenade launcher at short range. Jesus Christ!
It was worth it. I fired a crack grenade.
That's okay. Yeah. That's fair enough. I didn't like it at first, but again, it's that triangle I was saying to you earlier. You could even have that instead of a sniper rifle, because the whole point is you're only going to be getting up close anyway. And if there are people near to that person as well, you're going to be knocking a few back at the same time. But I like the sniper rifle more, if I'm honest.
I mean, for Sector Mechanicus especially.
Yeah. yeah. Concussion Carbine in Zone Mortalis all day long. It's gonna be brilliant. I'll definitely put one in my squad. But I'm more of a sniper rifle person myself. I like it.
Yeah. Cool. And the sniper rifle is just essentially a sniper rifle, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a cheaper long rifle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even cheaper. I think it's the same price, 35 credits, but it's got rending.
Okay. Like the Space Marines used to have when you rolled a 6 or something.
Six on an armor save. They don't get to make an armor save. I think. 6 on the to-1 roll. They don't get to make an armor save. It's something like that. So it's not mega. It's not like game breaker or anything like that. But it's a good 48-inch range weapon. Needed for Sector Mechanicus, definitely.
And then there's a concussion, the heavy concussion ram. I don't think it's that great.
No, the two heavy weapons, they just flabbergast me because I can't imagine what they look like. A heavy concussion ram. It's a ram, but it's got a 30-inch range. And it takes 2 weapon slots as well. Yeah, and you have a stub gun, so you've used all your weapon slots. I think it's a higher strength, longer range concussion carbine, basically. Loses blast, still got concussion, seismic and knockback. Loses blast, but he goes up on strength, almost double the range. So I just think it's meant to be a more focused door knocker, shall we say? We're just going on the concussion ram name, but yeah, I don't really see any strength of having it. And the next one, the SLHG pattern assault ram sledgehammer, it's the weirdest thing ever.
It's like a close combat but grenade launcher at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. So yeah, it's 2-inch melee, strength +2. Knockback melee, pulverized, versatile. So yeah, it's quite a decent sledgehammer. However, the built-in grenade launcher is what makes it weird. But it's weird just with choke and frag grenades. It's only an auxiliary launcher. So I assume it can't use the normal grenades. But yeah, I suppose it gives you a little bit of range control, and then when you get in, it makes you a combat monster.
Yeah.
But I mean, I imagine that they're going to bring, because I'm led to believe when they did the online chat, the online talk, they said that the weapons for Enforcers are going to surprise people how quick they're coming out. So I'm hoping that we're talking next month, and that'll be our spoiler for next month. I imagine I have no interest in this model whatsoever until they show me the model and I go, wow, I love that. I can just see it looking almost like a big power suit, looking fantastic. But until I see it, I don't like either of the heavy weapons at the moment.
Well then, should we go into the close combat ones? Because I quite like these. Well, the shock batter not so much. Oh, actually, no, is that the better one? Oh no, it's not. No, this is the one that has parry though.
So the difference is one has a longer range, but one can parry, and parry is massive if people have the sort of shock and power move, where when they roll a 6, it gives them a bonus. They can say, do you know what, re-roll it. However, 2-inch melee and strength +1 on the shock stave, I can't see why you wouldn't take, and I can't see why you wouldn't take that over the shock baton.
Also,
it's 5 points cheaper.
Yeah, because and then parry doesn't work with power against power weapons either. It's weird because that's essentially the special rule for power weapons, is that you can't parry against any power weapon. But it's weird because I remember in the old version, parry was all over the shop. I remember people dual wielding chain swords and all of that. But parry's not such a big thing in this game, in this version. I'm not so sure why.
Do you know what? I think it's probably more common than people realise, but I also think that
people forget the rule.
But then
stiletto swords. No one really parries with them.
No. But I wrote down in my little book of things to talk about. One of the things I wrote was about rules, because I think maybe every third game I play I learn something new. I genuinely didn't know that. Or if I don't, I go, oh yeah, completely forgot about that. So parry's a really good example.
Or when
got
to
loads
bottle.
of chainsaws in my all lockdown.
I always forget when to bottle. It always comes up near the end when both of us are losing, and we think, oh yeah, we should be bottling now, and then we start doing the tests.
I'm normally quite good at that because you test every turn, don't you? You're supposed to test no matter what. You roll a d6 as your number of casualties, and if it's higher than your starting number of models, you've broken. But more often than not, you look and go, well, I can't bottle. It's impossible for me to bottle this turn. But when I was using Van Star, because my starting gang was 6, once one went down, there's a chance of bottling from turn 1. So you sort of remember it a lot more. So it's just become engraved in me to remember to check. But yeah, you're right. Sometimes you're looking at it, I really want a bottle. Please fail, please fail, please fail.
I haven't had that just yet. My Goliaths, they don't ever want to run anyway.
No. Well, that's it. And then when you do break, no one. Sod's Law, the one that you really want. To, oh, quick! You got a las cannon. Why don't you run away?
Yeah.
No, I'll stay here.
Yeah. Then you. So it's got the +1 strength. It's got shock and it's got versatile. So
yeah,
bonus. It's always.
Yeah. And then the kit came with a shock button.
That's it. But what's the difference? Like, you just don't know. You just say it's a stave, don't you?
Well, yeah, stave's a longer arm, isn't it? So yeah, and it is a long model. So yeah, it's a shock stave. You don't like it, well, I'm the arbiter, so tough. Also,
the fact is that as long as you're not mixing batons and staves in your game, and they've all got. I used to basically say anyone who's looked like they're holding a baton is holding a stave, then that's it. It's only if you're mixing it does it become confusing.
Yeah. I use the versatile terrain nameplates as well though, so it's even easier for me to say, like, I'm not cheating, look, there's the name, there's the model.
Yeah, I've got to start get order in mind.
Just give me a minute to quickly change the stats on the Actribe and then I'll show you again.
Yeah. And then my favourite one that I want to use is the Vigilus Pattern Assault Shield.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's just a Van Sar shield.
Yeah. But
just with a different name.
So it's the 2+. It basically gives an extra armor modifier.
Yeah, +1 to shooting and +2 to combat, I believe it is. If it is exactly the same. Which I believe it is assault shield. Yeah, because when you go to weapon traits, it says assault shield / energy shield. So yeah, it's exactly the same. As
long as it's in the front armour.
Yeah, I was just going to say that it's got to be in the front arc. But otherwise, yeah, it's well, you stick it on a subjugator captain, for example, who's already got a 5+ save, 4+ because of his undersuit. If you've then got the hardened version, it's 3+. So then with this, he's got a 2+ save against shooting, 1+ save in close combat.
Yeah, you can tank him up the front, can't you?
Yeah, with his shock stave, or even his because it takes weapon slot. So you'd have that with a shock stave, and he becomes a combat monster. But again, it's show me the models. I'm excited to see them. There's some really nice shields out there, to be fair.
Yeah.
From third parties, but you know, Games Workshop do what they do best. They just make beautiful models all the time. So I'll see all these third party ones, then go, oh yeah, but I want this one more than the official one because it's nicer.
I think I was really close to buying the Enforcer models recently, but when I look back, because I already own and I've already half built the ones that I've got, I'm just going to carry on with the ones I've got.
Yeah, it makes sense. I bought a box. I'd scraped enough to get a box, and Matty, who was on the programme that showed me last time, he said to me, have you bought it all? I said, I've only bought all the cards, I'm really skint, I can't afford it. And then I went in and bought them. And then I went in the next day because I was tempted to add a second box on. I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that. But I'm really glad I went into my local gaming store because they'd forgot to call me the day before because I'd ordered the Underdog cards and the Dramatis Persona and the Intrigues and Rackets, and it was all direct only, so they didn't order them for me, they just didn't tell me. So thankfully I ordered them from Games Workshop while I was there, so I got them because they sold out instantly on the day.
That's right.
So I wouldn't have had them, and I'd have been fuming with the shop because, you know, it'd have been the first thing I missed out on, and I really don't want to pay the prices I'm seeing online for them. So I decided to, because I had a bit of credit then, I said, oh, well, tell you what, just give me another box. Now Matty, Hero, said to you before, didn't I, where sometimes I want to play a game or he wants to play a game, sometimes I'll buy something for him, he'll buy something for me. He said, because I'd got on my course, I said I've had all this money cut and blah blah blah. He said to me, "Oh, what are you doing later?" I says, "Oh, I've just got my kids, I'm home, blah blah." So he pops round to the house, he bought me a box of Enforcers.
Oh.
So I was like, "Oh mate, I really appreciate it." But what I'd not told him is that I'd already picked up a box, and with the credit I'd picked up another one, so I've actually got 30 Enforcers now.
Well, he knows now, so doesn't he? Because you'll hear this.
Well, yeah, but I still love him. He knows I love him, so I appreciate it all the same. But the good thing is I've now got 10 ready for the weapons packs for when they come out for subjugators. Or I've got 20 to send to my normal painter when I paint 10 and go, yeah, I've really cocked him up. But yeah, no, I love the new models. There's a few in our group that don't like them. They really prefer the old school Arbite models and the old school Enforcer models, and I do love them. They are really, really nice, but I like these. I really like them. I think they're nice. I just don't like the heads so much.
Yeah, which is. I mean, should we? Have you got a list? Have you made a list of?
I have made a list actually.
Because I completely forgot to. So what I'll happily do is, once you've spoken about your list, we can then go into what are the third-party options that are available.
Yeah.
And I can do some more talk about that. But please, I realised as I've started recording this podcast that I actually hadn't done that.
Well, I did Precinct 99. I am a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan, which will be obvious very shortly.
I've started
got
watching
one cat.
So good. My wife's not such a fan of it, so I have to watch it by myself. But yeah, I do. I think I'm on series 2 now.
I was with my ex when it first came out, and she was like, "I'm not really interested." And I watched it all to about season 4, and season 5 was about to start. So it was starting up again on E4 where they were showing 2 episodes, and I said, "Just watch 1 episode with me." She fell in love with it straight away, and in about 4 or 5 weeks we'd watched every episode back to back, and then the new series started, and literally it's one of my go-tos on Netflix now. I'll just stick it on in the background because I just love it. But yeah, so 8-man squad, 5 patrolmen, 1 captain, 1 sergeant. I've tried to stick with what's in the box for mine. So Holt is my captain.
Right.
He's got a bolt gun, shock stave, and the standard stub gun that it comes with. I'm still short on my skills, but he's going to be threat response. It'll probably be threat response because even with his shock stave and stub gun, he's still quite good in combat. I've got Sergeant Terry Jeffords with his concussion carbine and shock stave. He would go off with 1 squadron. And then I've got Sergeant Santiago with a sniper rifle. Again, the sort of trio thing I'd not really thought about properly till the other day. So this would have been more. Santiago would have been a sort of covering fire, whilst Jeffords and Holt go forward with the normal people. But I think now I've sort of come up with that little triangle thing, I might want to change the way I've laid them out, but this was what I went with at the time of looking. So I've got another bolt gun in there, which is Peralta, patrolman with just the stub gun, and a shotgun, which was Diaz. I've got Boyle.
See, I put Diaz as my hand-to-hand combat one.
You see, shotgun, you've got to get up close and personal, aren't you? And Diaz is just, there ain't a knife option. If there was a knife option, that's all I'd give her. Boyle, concussion carbine. Again, I only put it in because I wanted another bolter or a shotgun, but the carbine at 30 credits was cheap, so it was easy to get in. I've got Lanetti, which is just purely a stub gun, because she's just a receptionist, isn't she? So she's not great. And then I decided to put Scully in.
I was going to say, what's Scully got?
Scully's just a stub gun as well. So I've got 2 with just a stub gun, but the idea behind that was it meant I had a gang of 8. If I dropped Scully, which I'd initially done with it and only had 7, then Lanetti would have had either a bolt gun or another shotgun in there potentially. So you can either have 7 all with a good weapon, or you can have 8 to get the numbers in, and sort of 6 have got a good weapon. You've got two stub guns, but those 2 stub guns would be, as I said, with the triangles. It would said they'd be at the front of the triangles. Get them at the front of the triangles. 2 sergeants with threat response, or a sergeant and a captain with threat response on either side, and then you've got, well, you couldn't even give that. It'd work either way, to be fair. You could have 1 with threat response, 1 with got your 6. you do need that extra character to make the triangles work, really. But you can have one decent triangle and one triangle where they're just sort of roaming forward. But yeah, that's what I came up with. So whether it works or not, I don't know, because they're all built headless at the moment. And
well, listening to you, the fact you've only got 8, I think I'd only end up with 4. I think the way that I'd want to.
The thing is, all the equipment from is brilliant. So you know, I want to give them Magnicals, even though that's not an option for them. You can only get them for black market. But let's have a look. I'm sure they're only 30 credits as well. I don't think there's much as that actually. Magnicals, there they are. 20 credits, common item. But yeah, there's some really good equipment in this new one. I can't wait to Stormbolter. Can't wait to give a Stormbolter to somebody, or Lightning Claws and Power Fists.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about that. We're not talking
about
that.
That's next month.
Yeah.
Or maybe a month after.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you can have a good conversation about the Law and Misrule campaign. To be fair. But yeah, so that's my gang. 8 guys.
Cool.
Yeah. So third party heads was what he was going to mention.
Yes.
Next, I think, wasn't it?
So I know I've got in my. I know I'm going to put pictures. I have put pictures up, but I'll pull it up as part of the podcast thing as well. So mine are mainly a mixture of scout models, IG parts. So basically they've all got the chest plate from a Cadian Imperial Guard model. So they've all got like a flak armor chest. Then they've either got mainly they've got scout arms or Imperial Guard arms, and then a mixture of weapons. But Max Mini is where I got my sort of Judge Dredd style heads and my shields and shock batons. So I'm essentially I've got 2 already. So I've technically already got 3. Because they were all originally part of my I can't remember the name now. In 40k, the Inquisitorial retinue sort of thing. They were part of that.
Yes.
So that's where they came from originally. But they could be used as my subjugators if I did want to shield up a couple of guys. But I know you've got Puppets War ones.
Yeah, Puppets War. I've bought about 10 different heads. 10 different heads for it. I'm just trying to find the sort of pictures so I remember which ones I'd got. But I was going through Puppets War and I just literally do some amazing ones. Like Spartan helmets, for example, but they look a bit Judge Dreddy. So one of the lads has bought them, but he's also bought the Anvil heads, which look very similar to the. You get buried heads, but with a gas mask over the front, so they look a bit like the Tempestus Scions heads that I really wanted after seeing them. Really nice, but I think people have cottoned on that they're quite sought after at the moment, so they're very expensive at the minute, and then you can't get enough of them together. But yeah, I'm just trying to find all the heads that I went through. There are some great heads out there. Anvil do some brilliant ones. Bearskin hats, turban heads, pith helmets. They've even got the Pickelhaube helmets, which are the old First World War German spiky ones. But the ones I really love are the Puppets War, the patrol caps, officer heads, and then berets, because you get them masked and unmasked.
Yeah.
But beards, cigars, all that sort of stuff. I know when they arrive, because Puppets War are generally a bit slow on the postage. Once they arrive, I'll definitely put some pictures up. But I did do an order originally where I got the Judge Dredd ones. I got some ones that look a bit Assassin's Creedy, or even a bit like the Scorpion Sub-Zero from the old Mortal Kombat. I got the Nosferatu ones, which is what I really wanted to do. But then I got some bit Raiden looking ones, but I'll keep them heads because they'll get used as my Water Guild, I think.
Right.
But yeah, there's just some loads of heads. Puppets War are the heads that do are fantastic.
Yeah, I've ended up buying some and then buying more of stuff that I don't necessarily need at the moment, but they're ready for something. Like flaming skull heads and stuff like that.
Ghost Rider.
That's pretty much it. I think I was going to use them at some point for Legion of the Damned models, but I never got around to building them.
I think ultimately mine will come down to be all these heads I bought. I'll use them as my retinues, which I know is something for the. I'm jumping ahead a little bit now again, but our next part that you wanted to talk about was the guilds, etc.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'll use them, just so I definitely get to use them, because I've spent a lot of money on them. I really don't want to. I don't want to waste them, but there's so many nice heads on there. Anvil and Puppet Sport at the moment for heads are my favourite.
Yeah.
I did see, I forget the chap's name, and he does post quite a lot as well, but someone put a picture of the Cromlech weapons on earlier. He's got the Cromlech grenade launchers that he's using for his subjugators. Really nice, I like them as well. My worry is I don't want to spend so much time and money converting a load of subjugators. The weapons packs quite really quickly, and we go, wow, I just prefer them anyway to anything I've converted.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit boring sometimes, where I do enjoy converting, but I'd rather take the official ones if I can use them, because it's a bit easier.
Yeah.
Plus they always look nice in the work I do.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. As we've talked about the criminal alliances, should we go into them now? Because I've got a feeling that this might be a big podcast.
Yes.
This month, and that's even without talking about the campaign.
Yes.
As you did really well with the lore last time, do you mind doing the lore this time? Oh no, actually, we're going to have a break first. Okay guys, welcome back. We're at Criminal Alliances now. So, as you already heard, Carla has volunteered to read the lore out because he did such a good job last time.
I'll fluff it completely this time.
No pressure.
So, clan house gangs are given great freedom when it comes to furthering their house's interests, and in the Underhive operate about as independently as any group of people on Necromunda can. However, even a gang sometimes needs friends, access to extra ordnance, or a little official clout to get the job done. In these instances, a gang might make a temporary alliance with locals, enforcers, guilders, or some other faction donning the veneer of officialdom, while it aligns with their interests. Such alliances rarely last that long, as once the gang has achieved its goal, independence becomes more important than the support they were offered. For their part, both guilders and other sanctioned groups regard gangs as temporary tools to be used when it suits them, but never fully trusted.
Excellent, see? You get it right every time.
Started to get one right.
So, should we just go in? So, it'll basically be a lot like the guilds were. So, it'll just be a tiny little thing to read, and then the benefits and the drawbacks, and we'll just go all the way through all of the different ones.
Yeah.
So,
I think thankfully with these, the majority of the drawbacks very, very similar to the last ones that you read out, where they have sort of something specific that affects almost everyone. But our first one are the cold traders. So there's always a market for off-world goods, especially those prohibited by the Imperium. Cold traders ensure a steady supply of this contraband for any who can meet their price.
Awesome, thank you for that. So the benefits, Xenos artifacts. So while the gang is allied with cold traders, they reduce the legality of the black market with Xenos weapons and war gear by 2, so they reduce the rarity essentially.
Yes.
And in addition, when the gangs form, the gang leader can select a random Xenos weapon from the black market to add to their fighter's card. If the alliance is broken, it must be returned.
Yes, I like that it's random, because there are some crazy good weapons on there. Things like Hrud Fusel, Necrotic Beamer, Neural Flare, a UVAF puzzle box. Don't even know what that is, but it is worth 150 credits if you get it for free, and it's normally illegal 15, so it's normally rarity is 15.
Yeah.
So you could end up getting one for 3. So Kroot long rifles are in there, sling guns. So there are some really good weapons without even going into any rules. Some really good stuff there. And to get one for free, it's fantastic to have.
Oh,
reducing the rarity as well. So I think the worst is rare 15, but they're mostly 9s, 10s. Yeah, mostly 9s and 10s in there. So going down to rare 7, it's quite handy to have. The only thing is, you've got legality and rarity. So without jumping into campaign rules, when it's rare, I believe it means good gangs can use them. When it's illegal, it's for outlaws only.
Yeah.
So the Crook long rifle, for example, is rare 10. So the Crook long rifles can actually have in normal gangs, which is interesting to know.
No, definitely. And then the other benefit, my eyes have stopped working. They've got really dry just staring at the thing.
Pre-battle sequence, the gang may add a smuggler shore party to their gang for the game. These hired guns do not cost any gang credits to hire, but if chosen, they must be included in the gang's crew, even if the crew selection is normally random. However, when selecting the crew for battle, the smuggler shore party counts as only one fighter, effectively allowing the crew to include 2 or 3 more fighters than the crew size may allow.
So it's essentially you can bring along their group of guys, very much like the guild.
Yeah. I believe when it comes to testing the alliance, I think if they break and flee, that's the sort of thing that can test your alliance as well. Something we've missed out at the beginning there when it comes to making alliances.
Okay.
Like the old ones, like the ones I forgot what they're called now from the last episode. The guilds. Yeah. So when you were the guilds, you choose it at the start of any rotation of any cycle of a campaign. But when it comes to testing the alliance, there's quite a few things that you have to test that can cause you to test it. You basically roll a d6, and the result of that, like a 7+, for example, the alliance is broken. 5 to 6, you get a warning where you, for the next game, you get all of the drawbacks of the alliance and none of the positives, because you're under a warning. And then on a 1 to 4, nothing really happens. But when you start looking at what causes the testing, if you go against what they say, or if things happen to their gangs, then you get +1 to that roll, and then every time you have to test it, you get further +1. So it's quite risky using them. But at the same time, when you look at their particular gang, they're actually quite good. Their shore party.
And then
just trying to
go on. Sorry.
Go on. I was just going to try and find their stats, but you
cool.
Go what you were saying.
So I was just going to go on to their drawbacks.
Yes.
So press ganged. So the pre-battle, if the gang has an option of choosing scenario, so it's basically again the same sort of thing as the guilders.
Forces you into a certain scenario.
But you can say no, but you have to test the allegiance. And then so go on.
I was just going to say then, I actually think it's a little less restricting. So yeah, you roll a dice on a 1 to a 3, you must choose that scenario, but it's only if you have the option of choosing the scenario. So when you roll the 2d6 to see what it is, it's only like a double 1, or like on a 2 to 3 and a 10 to 12 that you actually pick the scenario. Otherwise, you generally do a straight up standoff.
Okay.
So then there's only a 50-50 chance of actually doing one of those scenarios, but some of them generally quite good. The other one that they've got is Imperial Entanglement. So during the post-battle sequence, if the gang fielded a smuggler shore party, they must randomly select one of their fighters who is not in recovery to be subject to investigation. The fighter is now lying low and must miss the next game. Instead of choosing a fighter, the gang can choose to ignore this drawback, but if they do, they must test the alliance. So again, you could
potentially lose a good player, couldn't you, for a game?
Yes, someone goes into recovery, but I mean the smuggler shore party, just because I brought that up while I've been reading that, it consists of 1 cold trader, 1 bosun and 2 voidborn scum. So the cold trader is effectively leader stats, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 3, then everything else pretty standard. The bosun, not very good in combat, weapon skill 5, strength 2. But the 2 voidborn scum are strength and toughness 5, wounds 3, 2 attacks, weapon skill 3. So you're getting 2 ogrins in there, effectively. Cold trader comes with a sling gun, a stiletto knife, armour weave armour, bio booster. The bosun comes with a shotgun, and the 2 voidborn scum either come with an auto pistol and a fighting knife, or a las pistol and a fighting knife, both quick flak armour. So you've got just pirates basically. Let's be honest, that's the best way of describing it. They are pirates, but they are hard pirates. So and the Xeno weapons is quite a good little thing to have. So I think they're probably the best one of the criminal allies without even reading the others out, I think they were really, really good.
Cool. Should we go on to the Imperial Imposters?
Yeah. Imperial Imposters. So, faux nobility are well versed in the mechanisms of power that run Necromunda, and the aid of an Imperial Imposter can elevate a gang to unheard of levels of opportunity, provided they don't get caught.
So their benefits. Honourable word. While the gang has an Imperial Imposter, they can protect themselves from another gang from being outlawed. At the start of a campaign week, choose a gang. This can be your own gang, and for the duration of that week, the selected gang can ignore at least one action that would result in them being an outlaw. Now, I haven't played the campaign, so I don't know how sweet that is.
So, without going too much into it, you've got intrigues and rackets. So rackets are like territories, and intrigues replace the old, the house favours. House favours and I don't know if you're playing at the Dominion campaign. You get a deck of cards, you draw a card, and it's like an additional mission for the game. It's basically a lot of them was garbage, but what it's done, it's taken all the ones that were decent, and basically you shuffle this pack of intrigues and you draw 3, and you keep them to yourself, and at the end of the game you can, or as and when it tells you to, you can play them and claim them. But some of them, it might say that it's an outlaw tactic, so you might get something that says you've got to do this, but if you do it, you get +5 rep. Especially if you're playing against a certain gang, you get +5 rep. But it's an outlaw aligned thing. It tells you how many dice you've got to roll, and basically you roll. If you pass it and you're a law-abiding gang and you take this outlaw intrigue, and the test is 4, you got to roll 4d6. If any one of them is a 1, then you change allegiance. You're no longer law-abiding. You become an outlaw. So you have to decide whether it's worth claiming that intrigue, basically. So some of them are really good. Some of them you get like 4d6 extra credits, and then if you're playing a certain gang, you get another 2d6 extra credits. 2d6 times 10, and then 4d6 times 10. However, if you're rolling 4 dice, and if you roll any of them are a 1, you switch allegiance. It can be quite a risky tactic to play. Some of them it's only 1d6, so you think, do you know what? As long as I don't roll a 1, that's fine. And if it's law abiding, you are law abiding, you just don't have to roll. So you draw 3, and if you're law abiding, you get and if you're chaos cults where they're evil only, and you get enforcers who are good only, you might as well claim them because you can't change anyway.
But why would you not do it to yourself? Why would you help someone else out to not be an outlaw?
The only thing I can think of is bribes.
Okay.
Do you know what? I really don't want to switch allegiance this term. Will you back me up? That's the only thing I can think of. It's the only reason. Oh, do you know what? You've got that. You've captured that guy of mine, haven't you? Before we switch to the next cycle, or if you give me him back in the next cycle, I'll have a word so that you don't switch. And that would be one good way of doing it. Yeah.
Fair enough.
If I'm honest with you, when it comes to the benefits on this one, the next one is why you would do it. If I'm honest.
So the Underhive Ambassador, in the pre-battle sequence, the gang may add a master charlatan to their gang for the game. The hired gang does not cost any credits, but if chosen, must be included in the gang crew, even if the crew selection is normally random. If there is and then if the gang's a murder side, then there's a bit of thing about murder cyborgs and shootouts and stuff.
Yeah, if you're playing a murder cyborg shootout or escort mission, you have to use him. But basically, he's move 5, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength toughness 3, wounds 3, initiative 4, attacks 2, 7, 5, 6, 6. He's not amazing stats wise, but he comes with a needle pistol, stiletto sword, 4 digilasers as equipped with mesh armour, a holochromatic field, and a false hood. So I think with false hood, if it's a sneak scenario, he looks like one of them, so you can basically just sneak past them.
Oh, awesome.
It comes with evade, infiltrate, and step aside as well. But I think I'd read somewhere, or heard someone mention it already. when you're looking at all these Blackstone Fortress models, all these really nice characters they've got, it's just lining it up to be one of those models.
Yeah.
You literally, it can be anything you want it to be. The picture in the book's quite cool. It's peeling a face off, a bit like
Tom
they're doing
Cruise.
Mission Impossible. Yeah. So to me, I think it's quite a cool little thing to have. I like it. I think it's quite good.
Yeah, no, it's quite cool, and I think it might be that it means that where I've got my Scion models or one of my old, I've got a Commissar, Lord Commissar model that I can quite easily use and just swap the head over.
I bought one of them the other day from, or was it we did one? So it was a limited edition one where he stood with a chainsaw around the back of his neck.
Right.
It looks like a Jungle Fighter of Katachan Commissar.
Right.
It's just such a. I bought it. I don't know why, because I couldn't think of any reason to use it other than it's a beautiful model. But he may be with a leader of one of my retinues. I like caps and berets and stuff on my models. I think it's because I love the original Stormtroopers that Games Workshop did years and years ago. Before they did them with the gas masks and stuff like that. There used to be Stormtroopers with hot shot power packs. I think I had about 30 of them. Those were my favourite models. But anyway, I digress. So drawbacks on the Imperial Imposter. It's got noble ambitions. During the pre-battle sequence, if the gang has the option of choosing scenario, and a 1, 2 or 3 must choose Looters, Forgotten Riches or Caravan Heist, which are all really good scenarios anyway, so that's not a bad thing. And then a guilt by association, which is the proper actual drawback, is during the post-battle sequence, if the gang fielded a Master Charlatan, they must roll a d6. On a 6, their association has been discovered and the gang is outlawed. Instead of rolling, the gang can disassociate itself on the Imperial Imposter, but if they do, they must test the alliance. So basically, you roll a dice, on a 6 you become an outlaw, or because that's an outlaw one, you become legal, law abiding, which is weird. Or does it say? Oh no, so you do become outlawed. So you must be able to take this as law abiding. So yeah, you become outlawed, or you can say, hang on, there's nothing to do with me, but then you have to test the alliance, which is roll a d6 and there's a chance you'll lose the alliance, but because it's only a slim chance, I'd just say
just do it every time, and you can still have him if you don't roll badly on the failed allegiance thingy. Yeah,
but if you do fail it and you lose it, do you know what? You're only going to lose it anyway. So it's not the end of the world. It's not a bad one. It's not a bad one, but it's not as good as the Cold Traders so far. But it is still a really good one.
Cool. Rogue Factoria.
So who do I have next? Rogue Factoria. So counterfeit weaponry and war gear are lucrative enterprises for a criminal organisation and have the added benefit of keeping their allies well equipped with ordnance.
So should I bargain ordnance? Let's see if I can speak.
I can do it if you want. Yeah. So while a gang is allied with a rogue factoria, it gains access to counterfeit weaponry. When the gang visits the black market, it can purchase a counterfeit version of any weapon. Counterfeit weapons have their rarity reduced by 2 and their cost lowered by 20%, rounded down to the nearest 5 credits, i.e. a grav gun, which would normally cost 120 credits, has a rarity of 11, would now cost 95 credits and have a rarity of 9. Counterfeit weapons are not as reliable as normal weapons and either have their reckless trait if they possess the melee trait, or the unstable trait if they do not possess the melee trait, and count as illegal equipment with a legality equal to their modified rarity. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Nice cheap weapons that go boom if you fail an ammo check. Pretty much similar to a plasma cannon.
Handy for Cawdor, but I don't know if I trust him in my Van Sar.
No. I mean that 20%. If you're gonna go illegal anyway, because obviously if you're carrying counterfeit weapons and they're classed as illegal, there's a chance that you can become illegal again without jumping into the campaign system. So yeah, I think reckless trait on melee. I think if you roll a 1, you wildly miss or something like that. Unstable, they go boom. But if you're getting some good cheap weapons, you don't have to take all of them that way. But if you're gonna get some weapons that are heavy flame is a really good example. 190 credits, so expensive. But do you know what? If I can get it for nearly 40 credits cheaper, then why wouldn't you?
Well, you've got to buy the thing that balances them so you can move and shoot as well.
Well, yeah, there is that. Yeah, I wonder if you can get bargain.
Yeah.
Bargain suspensors.
Yeah, bargain suspensors.
Another big benefit though, hedge armourers. While the gang is allied with the Rogue Factoria, they count as having an ammo jack. An ammo jack hanger-on working for their gang. The ammo jack does not count against the gang's normal limit of hangers-on, so you can still have another hanger-on as well.
Yeah.
And then Factoria work gangs. So in the pre-battle sequence, the gang may add a Factoria work gang to their gang for the game. These hired guns do not count. Same as everything else, they just count as one fighter basically.
They're not amazing. They're like Hive scummy level, aren't they?
Yeah, they are really poor. It comes with one Factoria Overseer, one Party Boss, and 3 Factoria Workers. So it's a big retinue of 5, but the Factoria Workers are dual level stats. The Party Boss is the same, just not very good in combat. And the Factoria Overseer is normal ganger stats with 1 better ballistic skill and 1 better wounded attack. They're really not great, if I'm honest.
They're just extra bodies in missions where you're only allowed 10 models, aren't they?
Yeah, I think if anything, it's more than anything, it's the cheap weapons, free hanger on, and you know what? If you do want to swamp someone with, if you're playing a gang that's gonna mob you, just send them forward like a meat shield. Yeah, you're gonna potentially test the alliance, but do you know what? Who cares? That's how I look at it. What have we got here?
What, the drawbacks?
Drawbacks. Pre-battle sequence. During the choose crew step, if the gang include any fighters carrying counterfeit weapons as part of its crew, then their opponent may include a bounty hunter without having to pay the full hiring fee. Fighters armed with counterfeit weapons are worth their full value when sold to the guilders. Ouch. And then Factoria Workers. If the gang includes any counterfeit weaponry, they must include the work gang as part of their crew or choose to test the alliance.
So, they're not. I don't think I'd run this one.
No, the only thing I like about them is I always have the line, the one with the rifle shoots, the one with the bullets follows. Enemy at the gates. I just see them as like if you've got any Ice Warriors of Valhalla models, or you want to convert your own. That's the Factoria models I can imagine seeing.
You just need to you give one of them a sniper rifle as well. Is enemy at the that's it. It's the one with Jude Law, isn't it? Yeah.
Right. Go sidestep really quickly because I know my brother will laugh in the background when I say it. Have you seen Phone Shop?
Yes.
When they're talking about Jude Law, have you seen the movies of Jude Law? Nobody likes Jude Law. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. If you haven't seen Phone Shop, watch Phone Shop. It's really funny. So yeah, nothing exciting about them really. I can't see many people taking them. This next one though, really good. But I only found out it was really good a few days ago. Next one's Narco Lords. So chems are a vital commodity on Necromunda and hugely profitable enterprise for criminal organisations from the tip of the spire right down to the depths of the Underhive. Basically, it's drugs.
See, I thought this was Escher's thing.
I'll go for the benefits and I'll ask you if you've actually read anything on drugs yet. So, benefits, abundant supply. So whilst the gang is aligned with Narco Lord, the rarity and legality of all chems are reduced by 2. In addition, the gang does not need to check to see if their supplier has run out, as long as their alliance lasts. It's massive if you've read the drugs rules. Narco Scum. In the pre-battle sequence, the gang may add D3 plus 2 Hive Scum hired guns. These hired guns do not cost the gang any credits to hire, but if chosen, they must be included in the gang's crew, even if the crew selection is normally random. If the gang is playing Downtown Dust Up, Ghast Harvest, the hit scenario, then these hive scum must be included, or test the alliance. So, have you read the rules for drugs yet?
I've what you mean, like read some of the drugs, like Freezing and all of that sort of stuff.
Friends, yeah.
I've glanced over them. I haven't really had a full look at the drugs yet.
So when you buy them, when you go to buy them from the black market, they've got a legality, rarity, or whatever. Once you've bought them once, they become common.
Right.
Because it represents the fact that you've got yourself a little drug dealer on the side.
Right.
However, after buying them, you have to roll a dice, or a roll of a 1, the supplies run out, and then in brackets it says, or more likely the supply has been killed. I love that. So basically, something's happened to your dealer, he is gone. But what I like about drugs now is you've got friends on, you've got Ghast, and Ghast is already in the game, but they've added a little twist to it, which I like, because there's a guy who's obsessed with it in our group. Necrotic Slime, Karma, Obscura, Slort, Spare, and Stinger Mold. So without reading through them all, just to give you an example, they all have side effects as well now.
Right.
So you become addicted to them. So let's have a look.
So I was working out which ones I could give to my Zerka.
Yeah, well, basically, Slort as an example. Slort is officially known as Onslaught. It's a crude combat drug made from a dangerous combination of amphetamines and mutant rad adrenal glands. Slort enhances an individual's fighting abilities, increasing alertness and speed, slowing down a person's perception of the world around them. A fighter affected by Slort increases their weapon skill and initiative by 2 and adds 1 to their attacks characteristic. That readout just reminds me of Dread. That stuff, the drug that they're taking in Dread. That's slow-mo,
yeah, slow-mo.
Yeah, but the side effects. So during the wrap-up, so you take it before the game, basically, and they get all them bonuses to the stats. That's what they have. So during the wrap-up, any fighter who uses Slort must take a toughness check. If the check is failed, the fighter has become addicted to Slort. In each future battle the fighter takes part in, if they do not take a dose of Slort, they must decrease their weapon skill and initiative to 5+ and their attacks to 1, unless these are already worse than this. If they take a dose, the effects are reduced and the weapon skill and initiative become 3+, and they gain no bonus to their attacks characteristics. A fighter can shake the addiction to Slort by voluntarily going into recovery in any post-battle sequence. So if they don't become addicted to it, you have to take it just to get reduced stats. However, that game that you take it, they could be a legend.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. But you can beat it, and it again makes me think of Train Spotting there.
Yeah.
So they go into recovery, so you just lock them in a room and say, you're not coming out until we beat this habit, and then they go back to normal.
Or they go into the Priory.
Yeah, but there's loads like that. Necrotic Slime, really good. Have you seen the episode of Futurama when Fry has the green slime stuck to his head? Yes, it's the same sort of thing. Gives them characteristic check, their movement, strength, toughness, initiative, attacks, cool characteristic. You do a test for all of them, and if you pass it, they get increased by D3.
Nice.
It's brilliant. But then at the end of the battle, you have to roll 2d6 and see what happens. If you roll 2, so a double 1, their brain's been eaten and they die.
Wow.
Because this thing's stuck to their head and it's making them better, but it gives them like a euphoric buzz. But if they don't get it off quick enough, then they die. On a 3 to 11, it's removed, but they go into recovery, so you will lose them for the next battle. And on a 12, it's successfully removed without any complications, but then you've got to make a roll on the lasting injury table against a fighter, re-rolling the result of 61 to 66. You can't die, but you get it off, but there's some problems. So, but the boost that it gives you is so good, but do you want to take that risk?
Especially if you can just whack it on a Juve.
Well, and that's to me where it's brilliant. Sacrificial Juves. Get that down your kid.
Yeah, you can join our gang if you stick this on your forehead.
Which, funny enough, I've wrote this down. The last episode, you and Tony was talking about missing models, and you mentioned the Juves. Them recruits when they come in. Yeah, lads, take a bit of this, and we'll see if you live to the end, you can join the gang. I don't mind sticking them in recovery afterwards to get rid of that boost, but then I'll just keep giving them it every game.
Yeah, it's just like the beginning of getting into a frat party or something.
Definitely. Walking around with signs all over them saying you can't do anything until you've done this. But yeah, so drugs to me, they've got really good. I mean, even gas has some bad side effects now. But yeah, so I think this, if you're going to be an outlaw, I think this one's quite cool. If you've got meat galore, i.e. Cawdor, when you've got loads of guys, or if you're Goliath and you just want to have that onslaught, I can afford to have him miss a game just to give him that really hard game where he is Johnny Nails pants. It's really good. So drawback to this one, during the pre-battle sequence, if you can choose, and a 1, 2 or 3, you've got to do downtown dust up, gas harvest or hit scenario, or you can ignore it, but you have to test the alliance. And the other one's payment due. So during the post-battle sequence, if the gang gain any credits as a scenario reward, the gang must give up D3 times 10 credits to the Narco Lords. Instead of rolling, the gang can choose to keep all of its rewards and test the alliance. So you've got to give 10 to 30 credits out of your winnings. So it's only if you gain credits.
Yeah, well. So it's not that it's not when you've gone to get credits yourself. It's only the scenario-based credits.
Yeah.
Not the end of the world, then, really, is it?
Nah, it's not. You might only get 10 to 30. You might have to give it all up. But from your territories, from your rackets, you'll make money anyway. So it doesn't matter. So to me, you never have to test to find the drugs again. You always got the drugs. So I like that.
You also have the hive scum as well, don't you? I'm guessing you can't give the drugs to the scum. That would be a shame. Can't you?
If they're part of your crew, I don't see why not.
Because you don't have to worry at all, because it's essentially different hive scum every...
Stop finding loopholes, just enjoy the drugs.
I just want to know whether I can give my scum drugs or not.
I can't see why not.
Because I could make all my hive scum like really skinny, kind of, like you say, train spotting. You sort of like, they've got swords and scabs. Actual
drug addicts in real life.
Just say, well, here's an auto pistol. You come fight with us, and we give you all the freeze on you want.
Yeah, you've done this before.
Oh no, I'm talking to a police officer. No, I haven't. Ignore what I'm saying.
No. First one's always free.
Fallen houses?
So, fallen houses. Necromunda's long history is littered with the disgraced nobles and fallen houses. Most have faded into memory, though some remain eager to reclaim their lost glory. So, benefits. Rebellion. While the gang is aligned to a fallen house, if they win a game against a law-abiding gang, they gain an additional D6 times 10 credits. If their opponent was an enforcer gang, or a gang aligned with a merchant's guild, or the imperial house, they gain 2d6 times 10 credits and 1 point of extra reputation instead. And then you've got Rebel Lord. Again, this leads up nicely to some of those models from the side games that games are actually released at the moment. But in the pre-battle sequence, the gang may add a Rebel Lord hired gun to their gang for the game. This hired gun does not cost the gang any credits to hire, but if chosen, it must be included in the gang's crew, even if the crew selection is random. If the gang is playing an enforcer gang or a gang aligned with the merchant's guild or imperial houses, they must be taken, or they have to test the alliance. Rebel Lord. Movement 4, weapon skill, ballistic skill 3, strength toughness 3, wounds 3, initiative 3, attacks 2, 7, 6, 6, 6 on the other stats. They're armed with 4 digi-lasers, which in close combat are fantastic because they're just additional 3 attacks. Additionally, a Rebel Lord may be armed with either a pair of master-crafted las pistols and a stiletto sword, or a bolt pistol and thunderhammer.
Nice. The extra attacks, is that... Because I've even been confused with that in 40k. Does that mean you get additional, like, sort of bare bone attacks, or do you get them as, like, essentially you've now got 4 additional pistol / thunderhammer attacks?
No, Digilaser's actually got something specific on it. Let me find it in the thing real quick, because I'm nearly there. Digilaser. Okay, maybe I won't. I'll find Digilaser. Oh, there you are. A digi-weapon is worn, mounted on a ring, or hidden inside a glove. It can be used in addition to any other melee weapon carried by a fighter, granting an additional close combat attack. A weapon with this trait does not count towards the maximum number of weapons. However, the maximum they can carry is 10.
But then what's the strength, though?
It is actually in the weapons table.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to weapons reference chart, basic weapons, pistols, special, I think it's under close combat weapons. Digi-laser, there we go. So it's Digi, melee, versatile. It's got a 3-inch range. It's strength 1, damage 1, ammo 6+.
Okay. So you'd have
basically
hit, but it'd be 6s.
Yeah, 6s to wound because it's only strength 1. So it's nothing exciting, but you get 4 of them on top of your Thunderhammer and Bolt Pistol charging to 3 attacks. And Thunderhammer is, Cam's got one on one of his old Cawdor gangs. But Thunderhammer is crazy good. Where is it? Thunderhammer, strength +1, so it's not exactly mega hard. Makes him strength 4. -1 to the armor, just 3 damage though, and it's got power and shock.
And shock's a 6 auto wound. Is that? I think.
Yes. Let's have a little look. Weapons trait. Going
backwards and forwards all over
so
the shock there.
Shock is if the hit roll for the shock weapon is a natural 6, the wound roll is considered to automatically succeed. And power
is the anti-parry.
Can't be parried, and if the hit roll is a natural 6, which is the same as shock, no save can be made against it either, and its damage is increased, and damage increased by 1 as well.
So no save for the armour and auto wound.
No save, auto wound, and it becomes damage 4.
Christ.
So it's 4 auto wounds if it rolls a 6 to hit, basically.
Wow. Okay. Not bad at all.
And you've got, and because you've got 2 attacks, 3 on the charge, you can assign 2 to that Thunder Arm, and if it was both 6s, you're scoring 8 damage.
Jeez.
That is dead.
Yeah, even my Zerka would be worried about that.
Yes, it is phenomenally good, but not many people take them because they're expensive.
Yeah, and then the one of the drawbacks is the same. It's the D3 times 10 of. Oh no, but it's not the rewards. You just have to give.
No, you just have to give them D3 times.
So regardless, 10. You're giving them that much money.
Yes, and then the other one for the cause, when challenging for a racket, territory or similar, depending on which campaign you're playing, if the opponent is an enforcer or aligned with the Imperial House or Merchant Guild, you must accept alternatively. So when you're challenged, you have to accept.
If it's from certain people.
Yeah, so if I've got my enforcers and I say, Tom, I want to play you because I know you're really crap at this game. You have to accept. You've got no choice, or you have to test that oath.
It'd get a bit boring if that person did that every time. I want to play you again. You'd be like, I don't want to play. Well, you have to.
Well, I like playing you, alright.
I don't want to.
Just test the alliance.
Yeah,
then.
true.
So then you've got your next alliance.
That's the last one.
Sai Cinder.
Yeah.
So there are few greater crimes on Necromunda than the concealment or trafficking of psychers, though this does not stop recidivists from dealing with these powerful individuals. So, benefits: Psychic Awakening. When the gang allies with the Psi Syndicate, they may generate a random weird power for one of their fighters. The fighter permanently gains the use of the power as well as the unsanctioned Psychic special roll. If the gang breaks their alliance with the Psi Syndicate, they must pay the fighter's value in credits to their former allies or remove the fighter from the gang roster. Basically, just gives you a bit of a free Psyker.
Yeah. And then to keep them, you have to give them the original amount. So you could Psi a Juve, and then just pay them the Juve money at the end.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah, don't give them any other equipment. I mean, obviously it's a random skill, so it depends what the weird power is. I just click
they
that
still
link
get
there,
the auto ones, don't they? Concentration or something like that, and levitate. I think all psychers get that as standard.
Well, you say that, but because I'm using my iPad at the moment, so they generate a random weird power. See page 124. So I just click page 124. It brings up the random powers that they have on Ghast. So 1 is telekinesis, 2 is pyromancy, flame blast, 3 is chronomancy, which is freeze time, 4 is technomancy, which is weapon jinx, 5 is telepathy, terrify, and 6 is biomancy, which is quickening.
So, but I think that I'd have to have a look at the old Psyker rules, but I'm pretty sure, because when I remember reading it previous, it said that whatever Psyker you have, you will always have these 2, because I remember discussing them, and one was to try and keep the spell to last another turn, and one was just the ability to travel between platforms as long as you land. Yeah,
I see what you mean. Yeah, you're right on that one.
But you get an extra one of those 6.
Yes. Yeah, and they get to keep it, so it's not a bad thing.
No.
The other benefit is mind-locked weird. In the pre-battle sequence, the gang may add a mind-locked weird hired gun to their gang for the game. See page 24. This hired gun does not cost the gang any credits to hire, but if chosen, they must be included in the gang's starting crew. And then if you're playing this gas harvest scenario, they must be included.
So essentially, you can get 2 psychers.
Yeah. So if you want to go, I see this massively with the Delac gang, because I think Delac just look like they have psychers. They look like that sort of gang. I might be wrong, but
I'm wondering whether
I
I
always think of the
can
big
wizen down, like, use, because I've got 2 of those psychers from the Backstone Fortress that I was going to use as one of them as like the spiker, sort of the psychic guy for the Delac, but I never ended up doing the Delac. But I could do a wizened down Goliath, and now they've become a psyker, they lose all their body strength. But
yeah,
might try and put a mohawk, green stuff mohawk on one of their giant bulbous heads.
Just to alleviate your OCD, if you have any. Maintain, control, simple, and concentrate basic are the 2 psychic powers that they all get as standard.
Thank you very much. That would have to be something I'd have to amend next month, so it saves me a job.
It says that they get the unsanctioned psyker skill, I think it was. Psyker, I've never read the psyker roll. So a sanctioned psyker, they can re-roll a failed willpower test once per battle. A non-sanctioned psyker, should a psyker with a skill be taken out of action, the enemy gang is rewarded a bounty of D3 times 10 credits at the end of the battle. Should a psyker with this skill be captured and sold to the guilders, they are worth their full value. Note that when a hired gun is captured, they can be sold immediately without the need to attempt a rescue mission. So, because you have that person, anyone fighting you gets D3 times 10 credits if they can take them out. Maybe makes it a bit risky sticking it on a duel, but at the same time, what's 10 to 30 credits on them?
Yeah, it doesn't cost you anything anyway.
No, definitely not. So drawbacks for these, I love this one, Dark Dreams. During the pre-battle sequence, before the choose crews step, randomly select one of the gang's fighters who is not in recovery. The selected fighter must immediately make a willpower check. If they fail, they cannot be chosen to be part of the gang's crew for this game. Alternatively, the gang can decide to choose one of their fighters. The gang can decide not to choose one of their fighters and test the alliance. So basically, one of them's had a scary dream and he don't want to turn up anymore because the clans are going to get him. I think it's quite a cool little drawback, to be fair. And then the other one is you've got Psychonarium Attention. During the post-battle sequence, if the gang used any psychic powers during the game, so they can still turn up, just not use the powers, there is a chance that they might have drawn unwanted attention from the Imperial House's own tame psychers. Roll a d6, adding 1 for each fighter with the unsanctioned psycho
so you have to be careful
on their side. Yes.
The amount of psychers.
If the result is, but even then, if the result is 7 or higher, randomly choose one of the gang's fighters and make a roll for them in the last injury table. Gang can choose not to make this roll, in effect giving up a member of the Psi Syndicate to cover themselves, but if they do, they must test the alliance.
So you could give your Juve up.
Yeah. No, you give them up, so you don't even roll on it, so it's like you're grassing on someone from the Psi Syndicate. Oh no, it wasn't me, it was Jim Bob down there, he did it. And Jim Bob gets it instead of you.
Right.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
It's not a bad one. If you're into psychers, because some people they like that, and there's some really good conversion opportunities. It's not a bad gang there at all.
Yeah, and it's always fun. I think there's also it just gives it a little bit of change, doesn't it? Like, I haven't thought that I could put a psycho in my Goliaths, and I don't know if I would until I look at the psychic powers. But the option's there now, which is always sweet.
You could make your own Goliath equivalent one. I'd love to see a Goliath with a big robe, with the Ming the Merciless style robe, as all psychers are in Games Workshop. I'd love to see a Goliath version of that, just because it looks wrong, but it looks right. Speaking of robes, that is something really quickly that we missed off in Forces. I love that Tempest of Scion's jacket draped over the shoulder of a captain. So much so that I've got mine at home ready to come back as So they do it. I love that.
The problem is I find with the coats though is the two joins are really obvious. Because the coat is in two separate parts, and the seam line that joins them is in the middle of the coat. So it's really you really have to kind of plastic glue and file down, and that's what I'm going to do to my model. You can still see the seam quite hard, like it's so it's going to be a bit of a pain to make that smooth. But
all I had was green stuff. Look, I don't paint like you. I have mold glands.
It's going to bug me. I have the same issue with the Scutari. Scutari models have the same issue with sometimes the coats join up and then the seam lines right through the middle of the coat, and it's really obvious, and it bugs me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to muck about mine.
Scutari, what weapons do they use? They use arc
rifles, which is
they?
One of the things, isn't it? It's one of the
it's dead. 24-inch range, -1 to hit at long range, +2 at short range, strength 5, damage 1, ammo 6. It's got blaze, rapid fire, and shock.
So it's technically a better weapon in Necromunda than it is in 40k.
Well, everything's better in Necromunda.
That's it.
Apart from the Stormbolter.
Yeah, the Stormbolter isn't great. I think it just runs out of bullets very easily, doesn't it?
It's rapid fire 2, that's why. So you're running 2 dice, more likely to get an ammo check, and then because it's scarce, once you fired it, that's it, it's done. But it's a Stormbolter.
Yeah, you just got to nick the ammo from a Terminator as it walks past.
I like that you can get Inferno pistols in
yeah.
like the Blood Angel weapons.
My bounty hunter has a melter gun, so I've still got to use that.
Yeah. Just
terrify people and get in half range. And it's like, I hit you, you're dead.
Melt is a silly role, really, isn't it? But we digress. Yes. Where was we?
Well, it's at the perfect point now because when I digress, I know it's the end of the segment. So we'll have a quick break and then we'll go on to games played. Okay guys, we're on games played, and surprisingly I've actually played a game, and it was about 2 days ago. Basically recently it's been quite difficult to get games and bits and pieces in, and sometimes I've not been in the right mood to be able to go out and play games. Also, I've been in a new area, it can be a bit more difficult to get games to play, sort of thing. But my wife encouraged me to kind of bite the bullet and get back down to the gaming centre, and I went down last Friday. I played a guy called Jason, who I've played before there, but it was a long time ago. And then after that we actually went and played a different game, bit like there's a mobile game where you've got to try and remove infections from the globe, and the infections keep going around. I think it's called something like Find a Cure or something like that, but that was really cool. But it was really nice to actually just start integrating with people again and start playing games and stuff. So I'll talk about my game with Jason. I used Goliaths. We did a skirmish game, 1,500 credits. I did use my Zerker again. I know I didn't have great fun with him against Tony. I gave him the mutated fists, which again gave him the versatile rule, which meant that he could actually hit a bit of range, so if he was pinned he could still get upset and punch somebody. In the end I only used that once. He was quite lucky, he didn't actually get pinned too often. I think he got pinned a total of 2 times, but only once did I have to use the versatile rule, getting off the floor. But it was a fun game. What I did notice, which I've never noticed before, is we played like normal standoff Zone Mortalis mission, but in there it says for deployment, you could, because I've always done it where you line up across the back, because I think that's the same with Sector Mechanicus, but it says that in that one you can just pick one tile and put all your models within that tile, and I never noticed that before. So you could sort of mob up.
Yeah, that's where there's a Cordor card, isn't there? Where
And you flame everybody afterwards.
Just set everyone on fire, and you go, yeah, that's ruined the game before it even starts.
But I mean, it was weird because he did mob up with his Orlocks in one corner box. But
yeah,
I could have done the same thing potentially. I didn't, and what it would have meant was I could have put my Zerker basically, because we had six squares, and because I think that's the only way you can do it. It says I think 4x4 you do it across the line, but if you do 6 you can mob up in a box. So he did the top left for me if I was looking at the thing, and I could have gone bottom left and put my Zerker essentially about an inch away from his guys, which I didn't do in the end, because I didn't think it was right that I could instantly just bombard his whole army. Yeah. And so I spread out a bit more. I mean, my Zerker was, so basically I spread across the back line instead, because I didn't want to just finish it off where it was just us fighting in essentially 2 boxes in a corridor, because of the way it was. There was quite a lot of one length corridor there as well, so it would have just been me and him fighting with one model while all the other people were firing over each other and potentially hitting their own models when they missed the one they were aiming for. I just didn't think that's a fun game.
Yeah, when you're not getting many games in, you don't want them to be that way either, do you? You want to really enjoy those games.
So I did spread my guys out a bit more. So my leader obviously had a grenade launcher. From playing with Tony, I realised I wanted more shooting. So the Orlock the Goliath you basically get with the Brute Cleaver and Spudjacker, I don't use so much. I actually bought some smoke grenades, but didn't really end up using them. The 2 guys that had them never really got a chance to use them before they got shot. But I was just toying with that idea of being able to lay down some smoke and protect myself. But in the end, because the way that Zone Mortellus was laid out, I kind of wanted my guys to shoot. I didn't throw the smoke grenades because it would have stopped me from shooting also. So I just never bothered in the end. Annoyingly, I couldn't use my combat shotgun guy, which I've discussed already, because I had 11 models, but you can only have 10, and he was my random roll. But yeah, I mean, I actually did manage to win a game. I mean, there was one point where he was firing through 2 of his own models with a heavy stubber, and he managed to miss my leader, and then also thankfully miss his own guys as well, because I'd have felt really bad. It's like he spent so much time worrying about hitting his own team that he ended up missing mine too.
You'd have only felt a little bit bad though. You'd have secretly gone, oh no, yes.
I mean, this time the Zerker was absolutely beefy. I mean, he would, because of the mutated fists as well, it's an extra strength, more damage, minus AP. So it was essentially, if he was hitting, as long as I wasn't rolling 1s to wound, or sometimes 2s, but a lot of the time he was doubling out because he was strength 7. So he was hitting 2s to wound, and then it would be, well, the AP's too high. So it would just be, and then we were quite unlucky that I'd keep rolling like seriously injured. So because he was in combat, that was him out of it, sort of thing. And then I could then consolidate another 4 inches, get close to someone else. What I couldn't work out though, what we didn't really work out, was if I consolidated into base to base, which I don't think you can do. I'm not sure. You wouldn't then be an assault the next turn, because I always thought then you could just slingshot constantly throughout the army. I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
We put them in base to base, but they never automatically went into combat after that. You still had to. The next turn would still be kind of going at it, but it wasn't 100%.
The only way you can go base to base is from a charge action. What you could do is if you'd started a round in combat with him, for example, you could have fought him, won, and then consolidated, because you get to that for free, the 4 inches, and then so that would have been a fight action, which is a basic action. I say that you still can't do it. There's one way, there's an action, there's a skill into where like Fists of Fury or something like that, where you can fight twice in a turn. Right. If you had that skill, when you consolidate, you could, because of the versatile rule, you can fight someone within your versatile range. You just can't move base to base with them because that's classed as a charge.
Blimey.
But it's very situational. Yeah. And the thing is, as well, is I don't know if you knew or not, but when you do win in combat, you can only consolidate or coup de grace. You can't do both.
Okay.
So if you coup de grace someone, you can't then follow up your 2 inches.
Right.
Which I didn't know myself until the other day. But again, I said to you, didn't I? I'm always learning something new. So if I find that. So yeah, so step 8 of combat is consolidate or coup de grace.
Oh.
So if all enemy fighters the attacker was engaged with are now prone and seriously injured, they may make a free coup de grace simple action against one such enemy fighter. Alternatively, if all enemy fighters the attacker was engaged are now prone and seriously injured or have gone out of action, they may move up to 2 inches in any direction.
So I could either coup de grace him or think there's a dude behind me who's going to do that next turn.
Yes.
So then I'll shift round.
What some people do is they'll take someone down thinking, do you know what, the down is probably not going to stand up, and I've got a Juve nearby. So the Juve walks up one action, and because coup de grace is still an action if you didn't do it as part of the combat. So Juve walks up, coup de grace. Or if you've got like a champion and a Juve fighting someone, the champion takes them down. Rather than taking them out of action, the champion 2 inches just disappears and leaves them on the floor. And then if it was, say, group activation,
the Juve does the move.
The Juve does the coup de grace, so the Juve gets the experience point. So it's a way of giving experience to somebody else.
Right. Well, in theory, I could have done that anyway, and the Durka would have still got round the corner and got closer to the next person.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit them hard enough and they got out of action, then it's irrelevant. You're always going to follow up. But yeah, if you take them out, if you coup de grace them, then you can't follow up as well. But again, I didn't know that myself until not long ago. I've probably played 50, 60 games at this point, because I think you get a bit sort of complacent, don't you, with rules that you know, rules that you assume, and we'd all been doing it that way. Then went, oh, hang on, you could do one or the other. Whoa, get that guy back in the open.
Well, it just means from now on I won't make that mistake, and I'm sure that once I tell someone else, they'll be like, oh, I wasn't aware of that, and it just carries on, working its way around.
Yeah. Well, and like I say, that's what I've enjoyed. I've enjoyed playing games and going, didn't know that. Didn't know that. I'm really glad I do, because it makes more sense. Or, I don't really like that, but yeah, fair enough. If it's the rule, it's the rule.
But I really enjoyed the game. I was a bit nervous at one point because even though I've got quite a high call, I still managed to roll a 6 and start bottling. Well, no, it wasn't the call that does the bottle, but I rolled a 6, and then even though I had more guys on the table, he rolled a 2, so I started bottling. But fortunately, because my call was so good, they all went through and passed it all. But I was like, oh no, I can't start losing my guys, even though I was winning. But thankfully, the Goliaths stayed where they were.
They are really, really good at staying on the ball.
If you want them to, yeah.
Because that toughness 4. It's surprising what +1 toughness can really do. It's usually the first thing I put on all of my champions and leaders, etc. +1 toughness. I also have a bit of a thing, which you'll have seen with my models when I put them in a group anyway. I've got a bit of a thing for servo harness.
Yes.
Full servo harness and +1 toughness. 8 experience points, 160 credits, but you then strength and toughness 5. Makes you hard as nails.
Well, I've lost. Yeah, because it was weird getting used to, because I don't generally pay Orcs very much, but them having the extra wound. So you're like, oh, I mean, with the Zerka, because his things were causing so much damage, or the Renderizer, when it did get in, or the grenade launcher, because I fired a couple of crack grenades, the damage was so high, it ended up being that you just rolled to wound anyway, because it took enough wounds off. But if I was hitting him with basic stuff, he would be staying around a bit longer before I even was able to start rolling injury dice.
Yeah.
Because his leader did take a wound. I can't remember what it was from, but he was around till the end of the game, basically until my leader went in and renderized him. But no, it's a really good game. We did use the Delta 7 tiles, but because of the way all the models were set up, we actually didn't end up having to roll for anything. So there was the moss, there was one that was producing moss, there was 2 silos that we could have fallen into, and there was some electricity thing that makes all your weapons have shock. But we never ended up using them in the end because it was just a Goliath wanting to club the Orlocks to death. So that's pretty much what ended up happening. It was pretty close because we were losing. We were both being quite unlucky with being out of action, or 2 of my guys spent most of their time lying on their fronts because they were severely injured for pretty much the whole game. Once they got hit, they just stayed down and they wouldn't flesh wound up. But yeah, I mean, it was a really fun game. Like I said, I'm really glad that I actually got to play a game and that my wife encouraged me to kind of get out of the house and do something, and I'm looking to probably do another game this Friday too. So yeah, I'm glad I started getting back into it.
Yeah, I mean it's such a good game. The thing is, it makes a big difference depending on who you're playing as well. So if it is, like for me, Matty is my favourite person to play, only because he does sulk when he loses. I love watching him sulk, but at the same time, I've known him for years. Do you know what I mean? So what would be a 45-minute game, maybe an hour game, could be 3 or 4 hours of meaning because we just sit and gas. Just sit and gas, and sometimes that's what the hobby's about for me. Necromunda in particular, like I said, you do develop a bit of character and stuff like that, but you know what, if I played a campaign, I played 30 games in that campaign, I got smashed in every single one of them, that wouldn't bother me. I just look at that as the character for me building is they're garbage, they're the most unlucky gang, but I could probably spin a bit of a tale about it and have a laugh with it. But for me it's about it's getting out and seeing people and having like-minded people. Obviously because of my job, and because of my circle of friends, my non-geek related friends, people don't get it, people don't understand, and like now on this course I'm on now, I've had someone's found out that I do it and they're all really taking the mick out of me, but it's really funny because there's another lad there who came up to me and went, "Oh, you absolute geek," and then twisted his phone to the side and showed me all his 40k arms. So he does it, but he just keeps it quiet. He's going, "Oh," and then when I spoke to him later on, he went, as if you let him know what a knob.
But what I don't get is that they'll be like, "Oh no, but I really love doing this and I spend all my time doing that," and it's like, well, why is that any more or less geeky? It's like no one else in this place does it. It's completely random, but your thing of fishing is somehow more acceptable socially than
fishing's a weird one, isn't it? But no, for me, getting out and just having to get. I know for yourself, you're more of you prefer more of the sort of hobby inside the painting and building sort of side of it. For me, I love playing. I love gassing away to people and just playing just a good different game. I love that for me. And when a game can keep me interested, like I said last time, X-Wing was what was really keeping me going for a bit, but it became really stale because after a game, that's the end of it. And I love the after game sort of side of things. I love a campaign system. And I love that I could play someone 10 times and every game can be different. And then it does sort of incite a bit of rivalry and stuff like that between people. So no, it's good that you definitely got a game on Friday. It'd be good to hear more. I must admit, I do laugh. It's one of my favourite things about the podcast, but it always comes to this bit and you all go, I ain't had a chance to play a game yet.
Well, Tony's the best one for it. I think the difficulty is where we've moved to a place where I didn't really know anybody, and I spend so much time travelling to go to work that it just I haven't got the energy, and thankfully now I'm working from home on Fridays. I can finish work and also be right near the place because it isn't that far from my house. It's only about 15 minutes drive. But it was just because I got out of the habit of it that I've actually been working from home for about 3 months. maybe even more.
Yeah.
But because I hadn't been there for so long, it hadn't been part of my sort of practice and my general sort of Friday thing. But I think now, once my wife saw that kind of where I've been stuck, well, not stuck because no one's made me stay here, but while I've been kind of wedged myself in the house and not really gone out very much, it was kind of the right time to actually just get out and put myself out there.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, even though you don't get many games in, what I like about listening to you all when you're talking anyway, even though you're not playing many games, you're still quite au fait with all the rules, etc. And not only that, you're all still really passionate about the game anyway, and that's massive. That's the main reason I really like the podcast, if I'm honest, because it's a game that I'm passionate about, and you're all also passionate about it, and that's pretty much what I want to hear. I want if people are going to be talking about it, I want it to be people that actually like the game, are passionate about the game, even if you aren't playing games. I could sit and talk to you and say, oh, did you know about this and this, and you would be like, oh yeah, I know about that, or do you know what I mean? And that's what I like, if I'm honest. So no, just I look forward to it when you're getting more in, but
well, definitely going to look for another one this week and see if it's Jason or someone else. But
it'd be nice. Me and Matty talked about it. It'd be nice if we could come up to your end and play you guys as well. It's just my timetable massively changed just recently. So sort of between now and Christmas, I am going to be all over the shop. Although, admittedly, when it comes to the end of this course, because it's so intense, when it comes to the end of this course, I'll have a bit more time on my hands again, so my gaming will go back up again, and it would be nice to try and organise a trip where we get to come down and see you all at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be cool. I mean, especially as when I thought Tony was going to be on today, I thought it was going to be really northern, because it'd have you and him on the podcast, and only me as the ex-Londoner on here. So it would be good to kind of south it up a bit if we hear back from Michael and then when Erin's available, sort of thing. But I'm definitely up for new games. But our group's really cool. It's got a huge amount of space, so we can always play on there on a Friday. If you don't mind topping and tailing, you and Matty have got a sofa bed here, so you're always welcome to stay on ours.
He snores, he can get an hotel.
Fair enough.
He really does, he's awful. When we go to things normally, he always gets his own hotel room, but because he says I snore that loud, I need to get my own hotel room. Like, well, whatever, you'll do what you need to do, mate.
Well, I remember I camped around, I was camping with my friend, and he snores so loudly that I had to wear those yellow foam earplugs, and then also his, because he fits alarms, his industrial headphones, just so that I could drown out his snoring. It was so loud, I recorded it. I might actually send a clip of it to Tony to add at the very end of this podcast, just to give people an example of what I had to sleep next to.
Please do.
I'm going to send it to him.
I did some mutual aid last year. Now went down to Wiltshire, with the Novichok poisoning stuff. So we did some mutual aid where I went to go down and assist the Wiltshire police force. And while we were down there, one of the guys who came from Hull is called Dave Cave, and that is his real name. Dave Cave. He snores. Dave Cave. He's a South African guy originally. He snores so loud. I was laid there laughing. I had a 13-hour shift coming up and I had no sleep. I was just laughing. I couldn't believe how bad it was, because the team that we were leaving, it was their last day and they was going home. They'd had a few beers the night before, and as they got into bed, he was just snoring that loud. After a while, he was effing and blinding. Can you just shut the fuck up? He was going mental at how loud this guy was snoring. Anyway, the next day we did our shift, and when we come back, the woman from Wiltshire says, Humberside, there you are. We've had a complaint. And so we're sort of like looking at each other, like thinking, whoa, what's going on? He said, in relation to someone snoring. And we just started laughing and all pointed at Dave straight away, because we all knew it was. We didn't realise that, because we're staying in an army barracks, so the floor below and 4 rooms over was where the women were staying, and they could hear him snoring.
Wow.
So he ended up getting moved into sergeant's mess, because obviously it was empty. Got moved into the sergeant's mess in his own private quarters, just so that people couldn't hear him. But it worked out in his favour, because he got bloody miles better accommodation out of it. But yeah, he was bloody a nightmare.
Oh.
Apparently I snore, but I've never heard me.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've just sent the recording of the snoring to the group, so hopefully it'll.
I've just seen it. I will listen to it
once we finish recording. It's probably for the best.
Yes.
So we'll have a very quick break and we'll get to the thank yous. So we'll have a quick break. Okay guys, we're at the end, so it's the thank yous and the things we found on the Facebook page. I haven't got, there's no new patrons, so I can't thank anyone there. I can thank Jason for the game that we've played, but now it's on to and then what I'll do is I'll talk very quickly. I think I'll talk about the Yak Tribe event that's happening in 2020 as well. So if you Carl's going to go through and talk about some of the things that he's seen on the group, and then I'll do mine. I'll delete off anything he's talking about that I've already also picked, and then I will see if I can find, because I know one of the guys has already posted the Kickstarter, so
is that for the Yak
for the event?
Yeah.
But I'll have a quick read of that while you're picking out some of the things.
Yeah, no, it's obviously. I mean, I did want to say thank you myself as well. Thanks for having us on.
You're doing me a favour as well, so thank you.
No. It's good to be here. To be honest, I was thinking about this. It's good to have the guests on. There's some people I'd love to hear more from as well. You got some really good regular posters in the group as well. I know, for example, you have Steve Uden, I think it is. He's quite a regular poster. Chris Iden with all his sort of
the terrain stuff,
yeah, it's just some really really good stuff. And then there's some interesting articles got Goonhammer at the moment, which is it Julian O'Hare, I believe. So get guests on is great. So I'm really glad to be one of those guests. So really thanks again, guys, and just keep the podcast going for me because I absolutely love it. In terms of things I picked out, I've only picked 2 out, to be fair, but the sort of beginning of August, so I'm not sure if they've been covered already. So I've got Tony's Beastman Venators that he's done. I absolutely love those. He posted some pictures up, and I think someone else had said it was along the lines that they was going off. Orlok auto guns on there, but I'm using the Blood Bowl models, which we've already talked about on the episode, to be fair. Absolutely love them. And the only other one I really wrote down that I really liked was so only some minor converting, but Puppets Warheads again. Mike Eustace, I think it is. He'd asked for some critique on his paint scheme.
I've got that. I'm going to delete that one off then.
Yeah, Cawdor and Redemptionists. I really, really want to see Redemptionists back in the game. I love Redemptionists. However, the Cawdor scheme was so much better, and I must admit I did buy myself a set of those heads when I bought those heads
me
from
too.
Puppets War. But I dare build them. I dare put them on anyone. I'm scared of the backlash.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, as long as you're not painting them white, I don't think it's too bad.
I was just going to undercoat them.
Yeah, don't undercoat them and then show it. The difficult thing about that question was the Redemptionist looked really cool. The flames were really cool. It was all really good. The problem was he painted the blue one so well that the difficulty is that everyone, when he was putting it on the main group, not on ours, but on like Necromunda Worldwide or 2017 or whatever group it was, everyone automatically just picked Redemptionists because everyone wants to see a gang of Redemptionists because you don't get many of them anymore. And I think they were picking them just because of that. They're like, it'd be really cool to see Redemptionists. But I was answering it based on which of those 2 colour schemes looked the best. The Redemptionist one looked awesome, but the Cawdor one looked better, I felt.
The thing is with it, the Redemptionists back in the day, they were so cool, and it was a really cool colour scheme, and they just looked fantastic. But if you'd have took those classic Redemptionist models and painting them the way he's done it, dark and dusky with a blue head, they looked better.
Yeah.
They look fantastic. They're absolutely brilliant. They do look really, really good. And I think Necromunda now is more dark and grimy rather than sort of that 90s sort of comic book type feel about it. So as much as I've missed Redemptionist, I can't wait to see what they do with Redemptionist when they come back. That blue and dark scene was brilliant for me, to the point where mine have been done yellow, I think, because my friends done them for me, and I'm just tempted to say, I'm just going to build some more now and we'll try again here.
Yeah, he done it so well, it made it really difficult. I never thought I'd select the Cawdor paint scheme over the Redemptionist one. It was really weird.
No, definitely not. Really, really nice those. I really, really like them.
I've picked a few. I mean, it was really difficult because there was so much stuff being posted recently. I'm going to murder people's names, so I apologise in advance. There's Alistair Weeks. He's just, I think, in the last day or so, put up, obviously reading this new book, Escher models with Xenos weapons. So he's basically picked weapons that he thinks most represents the description of the weapon. So he's got one that's like a rapid firing needle weapon, which he's gone through on the Dark Eldar splinter rifles. Then he's got one that's more of a Dire Avenger because it's firing monofilament discs and all that sort of stuff. So it's really cool to see. I just love kit bashing, so it's really nice to see someone just having a go at what he thinks those weapons are. Yeah,
I mean, there's some really, really, really good stuff out there. What always impresses me when you see different things like I see it and looking, thinking I never even would have thought in a million years about doing that and giving it a go. So most of my stuff I do is just generally stealing other people's ideas, like my Vance Arachna rig. But I love having a go at doing it myself. But yeah, you do see some great things out there.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then next up I've got Vetsbrun. He did recently like a Nurgle model that I didn't recognise was a Nurgle model, and a dog, which I think was now Chaos Hound as well, like Chaos War Beast or whatever they're called. But its Nurgle model was painted with more of a flesh colour, and it still worked. It looked quite cool.
Yes.
Yes. But it's,
just looking now.
Yeah, it's really nice paint scheme.
Yes. I think he was asking where.
Yeah, I thought it was a separate model because it's got gas mask on it. Because I'm so used to all Nurgle models, pretty much of that sort of ilk, being like AOS/40k models, so they wouldn't gas mask it because you then couldn't use them for AOS. But it actually was one, so that's really cool. Then there's Michael Sebastião Geraldus. I've already said I'm going to murder your names. But he was the one who Tony picked out as doing some Corpse Guild models where there was a guy holding a pole arm with lots of different chainswords attached to it. But I
couldn't find that. He did about 5 or 6, didn't he? Like different retinas.
But he's done really two
models.
more recently that look like they used a lot of the old Empire models. One of them's holding a giant sort of flag and stuff. These ones look like the more leadery sort of ones. But they've come out in the last couple of days. They're kind of painted a bit John Blanchy sort of way. Kind of all kind of one sort of colour. But they're really cool, and like I say, I just like the fact it's just kit bash stuff. It's just the imagination of what they think it's going to be. Then there was something cool that was to read. There was Julian O'Hare's blog on how to introduce people to Necromunda.
Yes, I started reading that. It is a really good read. It's quite long, but it's really good. So I haven't finished reading that yet. But I did read his previous one.
Yeah, this one I thought was really helpful because I knew a guy who was just like a model curious sort of guy, but it was just, instead of trying to explain to people who may not be interested, who are just asking because they want to look like they're interested, you could just direct them towards something that they can read, and if they like it, they like it, and if they don't, they don't.
Yeah, saves you having to go for all the spiel.
Yeah, definitely. Then there was Adam Marshall's Enforcers. They look really cool. The thing with the Enforcer, some people were saying, well, how can you tell the difference between Jews and blah blah blah, because they're all essentially the same. On those new Enforcer models, on both shoulders, they have 3 individual little segment things, don't they? That look a lot like what you could do on people's shoulders in the army and police, where you can actually tell who's what. So why can't a leader have all 3 done on both sides, then the sergeant have 2, then the ganger have 1, or the ganger version have 1, and then the Jews have, but just a mix up of like the colours. Like if you have 1 gold lapel thing on one side, then you're a Jew. If it's 2, then it's a ganger. If it's 3, then it's a sergeant. If it's like the 3 on one side and then another one on the other side, then you're the top boss, and just work its way up that way.
Makes sense, to be fair. It's a good idea.
It'd just be a quick way of working out who's who, because essentially if you gave them all the same heads and stuff, it is quite difficult to know who's got what, because if it's just 2 guys with bolters and one of them's a Juve and one of them's a thingy, it's a bit of a pain to try and remember which one's which, unless you have a versatile terrain sort of base thing to show what's what.
Yeah.
But that just jumped into my head because we were talking about Enforcers just then.
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a good idea.
Then I'm going to murder this one as well. John Reinhard Hus. Sorry, I'm just destroying people's names. But he's produced loads recently. He's got 2 separate Hive Scum models painted. He's painted the Guild Bounty Hunter, and he painted the floating Psycho Testicle model.
I see the testicle model, and I hate it.
But his paint scheme is really cool. But I can't take my brain off the fact that it's just a floating scrotum. I like the model as well. It's really grim dark and it's really gross and dirty, but at the same time, it is a testicle.
Yeah.
I want to glue some hairs to it.
I just don't like it. It's the only model in the entire range I don't like. And I've seen some people moaning about Bartrus Artery and whatever he's called, saying they don't like him. I love him. That is genuinely the only model I don't like in the range. Everything else I've loved so far.
But it's still an awesome paint scheme, but I'm sorry, it is a testicle.
Yes.
It is. Then there's Craig Dolan, which I believe is Kablam's. That's the Prometheum Guild models he's built, which a lot of them seem to have the flagellant heads with beards and stuff. There's just a load of flamers. They're not painted yet, they're not undercoated yet, but they're using, because they're red, I'm thinking that they might be the Blackstone Fortress models, but he's put flagellant heads on, so like the screaming beardy sort of guys. And then sorry,
I was just going to say, I know which ones you mean. I'm just looking at them now.
And then there's one more, which is Tony Bellew, which is his last Beastman Venator model with the shotgun.
I'd say that one. I
missed that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I like that one.
Staged out for a second.
I like that one a lot. It's a beautiful model with the Orlok weapons. I like it. A lot of time for it.
Yeah, it's very cool. But that's all really. It's now 12:05. Blimey, it's well past my bedtime. Yeah. But thank you very much, Carl, for jumping in today. And that was a bit of a jump when it was just me and you, and you've not really. I know you've done the interview, but you've never done the full podcast before. So I'm really appreciate you being on today.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks for having me, and I'm always happy to come back again anytime.
I might end up having to make you admin as well, so you're going to have to accept or not accept people as well. Yep.
No problems.
Magic. Alright, that's the end of the podcast. Just before we say goodbye, Tony will put the snoring of my friend on at the end. I've just sent it to him. So hopefully, once you've finished listening to us say goodbye, you'll actually hear the snoring that I've been talking about. Oh man, so loud. But anyway, this is the end of the podcast. It's about 3 hours long, so it's going to be a whopper. And next month it will be the campaign, and maybe some other bits, because the campaign's pretty big. But maybe the weapons and stuff as well, because there are some really cool bits and new hangers on as well. There's just loads of stuff in this book.
Really, really good book. Really, really good book. I liked the Book of Peril. I thought it was a good book, but this is a great book.
Well, hopefully the next one's even better.
Yeah, we'll get to find out what Scavenger is.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Anyway.
When the Scavies
yeah, I can't wait. Well, it's a Scavvy sort of alternative. We'll see what it is. But yeah, no, it'll be awesome. But yeah, it's time for bed. So thank you everyone for downloading and listening. And we'll see you next month. Bye bye.
See you around.
And that was the end of Chronicles from the Underhive, a Necromunda and Post Apocalyptic podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. All the things we talk about in this podcast can be found at the Chronicles from the Underhive Facebook group, where we'll post up links to all of the websites we discussed and the current projects we're working on. Come and join us and post up your Necromunda projects. We hope to see you there, and may you never roll a double on your gambling den.